kuvota palampi. Mundubile Makebi. Imfi twakana. Mundubile Makebi lubuto. Tonse pamosi lubuto. Na mayo chitata lubuto. Bayut bazambia lubuto. Lampi ya sanika. Pasatini kuvota palampi. Mundubile Makebi. Imfi twakana. Mundubile Makebi lubuto. Tonse pamosi lubuto. Na mayo chitata lubuto. Bayut bazambia lubuto. Lampi ya sanika. Pasatini kuvota palampi. Mundubile Makebi.
a wonderful day that the Lord has made, and today we host the proud ticket of Tonse Alliance and PF Pamoza Alliance. They've formed a grand alliance called Tonse Pamozi, and today they make their first joint appearance, other than on May 13th when they announced to you. Of course, they've been making joint appearances at church, at the funeral of the late Archbishop Telesfo Mpundume. So rest in eternal peace. And today the team was in Lilanda Township under Lima constituency in Matero, where they prayed with the faithfuls in Lilanda. So we host Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu. Presidential candidate Brian Mundubile, who's a flag bearer for the Tonse Pamozi Alliance, and Makebi Zulu, his running mate. Just a recap. On May 13th, there was that dramatic announcement in the evenings of May 13th, just 5 days before filing of nominations, that the Tonse Alliance and the PF Pamoza Alliance were to come together in an electoral pact, and they were going to field one presidential candidate and one running mate, and they didn't disclose who it was. The following day, we had some issues, especially when the opening of nominations, filing of nominations opened. That there's something wrong with FDD, or FDD may not be ready because there was a competition, there was a petition before the Registrar of Societies, and there was a matter where Registrar of Societies had not cleared the office bearers to reflect the conference that took place in March 2026. But the candidate for Tonse Alliance had already paid the 100,000 and had already now cleared the 1,000 supporters. That was of significant concern. The PF Pamoza Alliance came with its own special purpose vehicle, which is Resolute Party. And so there was speculation, would then the ticket of Mundubile and Makebi file on Resolute Party? A day before the filing of nominations, the ECZ announced a schedule of who was going to file when, between May 18th to May 23rd. And for the first time, we saw that Tonse Alliance had revealed a new special purpose vehicle, not FDD, but a new special purpose vehicle, National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity. And on Tuesday, the concerns around this was that, what did it mean? We saw ECZ quickly issue a statement that if you choose a separate special purpose vehicle or political party, or you get new sponsorship from a new political party, you have to be cleared afresh. So it meant, and then ECZ said, our centers are no longer available, meaning the provincial centers were no longer available because they had put them for everyone to clear between the periods of 14th to 17th. And they said if anyone wishes to file afresh, they have to transport the 1,000 supporters, the 900 from the provinces and the 100 from Lusaka. That also created fresh tensions around the candidature of Honorable Brian Mundubile. But on that day, we saw celebrations that the 1,000 that had come at Camptat showgrounds had actually even been pre-cleared by ECZ, which paved way for the nominations that took place later that day on Tuesday, 19th May. And then there was now who was going to be the running mate. And then Makebi Zulu from PF Pamoza Alliance was revealed as the running mate and presidential candidate, who would be Honorable Brian Mundubile. There has been, since then, the process has closed as at Friday 23rd, and as at Saturday, official campaigns are supposed to open. Who is on the this list that has now been cleared, waiting for this 7-day period on 30th when ECZ announces the final list. We have President Hakainde Hichilema with WK Mutale Nalumango as running mate. We have Citizen First President Harry Kalaba, who's also leading Orange Alliance. Orange Alliance reviewed Moses Mawere as his running mate. We have, of course, Honorable Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu under the National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity, the special purpose vehicle for this grand alliance. We have Professor Daniel Chibale-Pule of CDP, and he revealed his running mate as former PS Bet Mushala, and son to the famous Mushala in the country. Bet Mushala was my colleague. I swapped with him as Permanent Secretary for Western Province, a wonderful man. So he was revealed as the running mate to Dr. Daniel, Professor Daniel Chibale-Pule. The young man, Akim Anthony Njovu, and I call him young man because revealed his running mate as well, filed in successfully, Miriam Banda. We have Ritual Siamunene under New Focus Party with Nicholas Banda. We have the former spy chief, Xavier Franklin Chungu, under the Liberal Democratic Party, with his running mate, Dingiswayo, Gerald Dingiswayo Zulu. Then we have our Reverend Dr. Given Katuta, the only female candidate and independent candidate, with her running mate, John Nyirenda. We had the candidature of Dr. Brian Mushimba and Andy Ford Maele Banda under a new party, organized party. And we have KBF, just a minute, I just do some administrative activity here. Okay, thank you very much. So we had Dr. Brian Mushimba and Andy Ford Maele Banda. There's been an electoral pact. Of course, somehow it fell apart, but Andy Ford Banda from his political party and the new party under Brian Mushimba presented the candidature. Then Kelvin Fubebwalia from Zambia Must Prosper. This is another ticket of lawyers. Kelvin Fubebwalia, lawyer, and Milna Katolo. Like Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, they are both renowned lawyers in Lusaka. We had Howard Kunda. He had his own challenges, but finally he filed in under Zawapa, and the candidate was, the running mate was Chipo Miowa, a young lady that attracted media attention. Dr. Fred Membe, who's leading the People's Pact and the Socialist Party, filed in with Dolika Banda as running mate. Then we had Dr. Richard Silumbe and Kamwenesha Kaele as running mate. And then we had Given Chansa Harrison Chewe, and Given Chance and his running mate, Harrison Chewe. Then we had that dramatic disqualification of the candidature of PPUZ, Charles Chanda's ticket, which was nullified on account of that he was declared bankrupt and that his papers, the Secretary General of the party was not the one listed from the Registrar of Societies. That was dramatic. Then there are fresh development in this process. For the first time, all the ruling parties, former ruling parties, are not on the ballot. UNIP, there is a contest already at Registrar of Society. Bishop Trevor Musonda Mwamba could not file because he is not represented at the Registrar of Societies. We have MMD. MMD, remember there was that dramatic change which has been contested by MMD members. And because Dr. Nevas Mumba said he was changing the name and that government had changed and authorized a change to a new party as a new name. So MMD is not on the ticket. Then we have Patriotic Front. On this forum, you've been aware of the challenges of Patriotic Front. So in this election, there's an attempt to obliterate former ruling parties. They may not probably exist because an election forms renewal. And other than the banning of PPUZ, the matters could be both administrative and constitutional. There is an issue of Sean Tembo and Augustine Chandakatotobe, which has raised a lot of concern because they changed the status of an old political party into a church organization. And the two, Sean Tembo and the presidential candidate, Chandakatotobe, could not file because all of a sudden, their political organization was changed illegally to a church organization, and church organizations do not participate in politics. Mwebantu Akwalesa, welcome. We have the fundamental broadcast today, wonderful program of the Alliance leaders, Honorable Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu. Let me retreat to my studio and I see how far we are so that we begin the program. If you have any question, just click on the questions and I'll be able to see on the tick on there on the comments. You can put in your questions. It can help me ask the two leaders that we are hosting today. God bless you. Let's come back after this break.
tochi. Tochi. Makebi sanika tochi. Makebi pachola. Chola wetata. Makebi pachola. Chola wetata. Manifesto perfecti. Vision perfecti. Makebi Zulu. Wana mulungu. Ati rizo. Party, Rizoluti, party, Ati Rizoluti, party, Rizoluti, party, Ati Jenzolila, Bwela Makebi Zulu, na Rizoluti party, Chola wetata, Jenzolila, Bwela Makebi Zulu.
Thank you very much. Share the broadcast. Today we are hosting Honorable Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, the ticket on the Tonse Pamozi Alliance. The presidential candidate is Honorable Brian Mundubile, former Mporokoso MP, former leader of the opposition in parliament, and former Northern Province minister. His running mate is Lusaka lawyer Makebi Zulu, former MP, also former minister for Eastern Province. They've come together as a joint force. So Tonse Alliance with various political parties and various NGOs, similarly PF Pamozi Alliance, similar many political parties and alliances, and together they are forming one joint ticket of Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu as running mate. We'll be discussing everything around the issue. This is an introductory program, so we may not go deep into various issues, but I think as introductory, we'll try to catch as many things as possible. The leaders are just getting ready in the studio, and we are going live very shortly. I was just reading to you that we, out of 27, 28 political parties that had paid the 100,000 and intended to clear the 1,000, 14 are filed successfully so far. And I read the 14 political parties and their running mate. In relation to this alliance, just 5 days before we could commence the nominations and a day before presenting the 1,000, there was a dramatic announcement that Honorable Brian Mundubile, leading Tonse Alliance, and Honorable Makebi Zulu, leading PF Pamoza Alliance, would come together. There was that evening, night announcement that was made, and that this electoral pact will feature one presidential candidate and one running mate, and that they will share between their special purpose vehicles seats across the provinces. And like any alliance, any marriage, there are issues, and we want to understand what could be the issues, and the leaders are here to clarify the issues. And I think the leaders are in the studio. Let me just come and introduce them. Good evening and welcome to today's program. Honorable Brian Mundubile and Honorable Makebi Zulu, congratulations on your successful filing of this nomination. There were apprehensions, there were prayers, the people were fasting, but the ticket was successful. So congratulations. Let me start with Honorable Brian Mundubile. Good day, and give us your introductory remarks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador Mwamba. It's indeed a very good evening to all the viewers, countrymen and women.
Thank you.
We are happy to be, yeah.
Oh, please proceed.
Yes, we are excited to feature on your program this evening with Vice President Makebi Zulu. We've had a very hectic week, and of course today we went to worship in Lilanda, where we received a thunderous welcome from the residents of Matera and Lilanda. So it's been a very good day indeed.
Thank you very much. Honorable Makebi Zulu, I saw you are already working as a team. I saw you at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, and today you were in church. How are you? And just give us your introductory remarks.
Thank you for having us, Ambassador. Congratulations to my fellow Arsenal fans for the great win. For the great win. It's indeed a good day to be alive as an Arsenal fan. And coming to what we are here for, it is a good relationship that we have forged together for purposes of making sure that we put a united front in this fight for Zambia. Fight for the long lost independence. At least during these 4 periods, people have lost their rights to express themselves. We have seen how that governance systems have broken down to intolerable levels. The judiciary is down on its knees. The legislature down on its knees. The civil service is so compromised and politicized. And we thought together we can press the reset button and do what the Zambians really want us to do. Of course, you know our roots, coming from the Patriotic Front Party. My colleague had gone a different way. I had gone a different way, or at least we had gone different ways as PF. But we thought it wise that we come together, not putting selfish ambitions, but in this case, being selfless in our approach to say, what exactly do we want? And we decided what is important are the Zambian people, and something has to give. And it's for that reason that we said, let's work together. Let's have a common goal. And this goal is to serve the Zambian people. I will be a check on my brother. He will be on a check on me, so that we do what we promised the Zambians we are going to do. And it is in that vein that we said, let's not just talk about unity, let's live that unity that we've been talking about all this while. And we are here today. Of course, there are these teething issues that we're experiencing, and we are committed to ensuring that we resolve them in an amicable manner that is going to motivate people to get out of their homes, to go and vote, because the message that we have for the Zambian people is that of liberation, is that of making sure that we restore hope back to the Zambian people. I was just telling my brother to say the lamp is one of the things that has gotten out of the bag, out of the bag, and out of this bag, there's a lot of things. There's agriculture, there's everything. That's so we just showcasing the bag, and this time around we're standing on the lamp together for the presidential vote. Then Lusaka, Copper Belt, it's the bag. The rest of the country, it's the lamp. And obviously,
In fact,
say that
Honorable Makebi Zulu, let me invite
yeah.
the president, especially on that matter, before we delve into the details. Mr. President, I noticed the crisis already because, of course, we have state attack. When Tonse Alliance picked FDD, even when FDD had a genuine conference, they couldn't confirm the matter registrar of society. Even at the last minute before your filing, we saw the issues. The crisis that has beset PEP, Sean Tembo's political party, is even being attributed to you because they think that probably it was your other special purpose vehicle in the bag. So 2 political parties suffered because of this. How are you ensuring that the teething problems that might come in this alliance do not in any way derail this ticket and you march towards 13th August 2026?
Yes, Ambassador Mwamba. The first thing to know or to note is that this alliance is beyond myself and Honorable Makebi Zulu. It's beyond constituent members of this particular alliance. It's now in the hands of the Zambian people. This alliance has given hope. People now believe national restoration, a reset of the country. The Zambian people now believe is possible. So clearly, the teething that we are having are not unusual. Like you rightly pointed out in your opening remarks, Ambassador Mwamba, like any marriage, even at household, you'll have challenges. So if you ask me whether or not we expected to have teething problems, the answer is yes. So there's nothing unusual with the teething problems that we are having. But what is important is that the 2 of us at the top have resolved and we're ready to provide leadership to the rest of the members who should respect and understand that this union is backed by the Zambian people. And it is there to restore unity, to restore democratic governance, to restore constitutional order. We have embarked on a journey, Ambassador Mwamba, of national restoration, national reset, so that our people can live a good life again. We have decided that we will not only change government, but will also change how government works. Police reform is not enough without state reform. So if you look at the number of reforms we are proposing in our manifestos, they point to the fact that we'll start by changing how government works. And this will start with, first of all, depoliticizing the civil service. It will go to professionalizing the civil service and also having a merit-based recruitment process in the civil service. So because of what we're offering, it's expected that every member of this alliance will work towards unity and not division. We know that particularly President Hakainde Hichilema would only want to go unopposed. He has demonstrated this at party level, and unfortunately, he would want to do that even at national level. If you look at the battles that we fought in the past 2, 3, 4, 5 months, this is something that never happened to President Hakainde Hichilema whilst he was in opposition. FDD was our initial special purpose vehicle. They went on to frustrate every effort to change the list of office bearers, and as if to mock members of the FDD, members of the alliance, and indeed the Zambian people, they only released the changes the day after we had filed our nominations under Nrpup. So clearly, we know up to now, we have information up to now, they're all over trying to find ways through which they can disturb what we have created. But like I've always said, the will of the Zambian people will prevail. The Zambian people have hope. The Zambian people are looking forward to having Honorable Brian Mundubile on the ballot together with Makebi Zulu. This ticket, Ambassador Mwamba, is unstoppable. It is unstoppable because it's highly supported by the Zambian people.
Thank you very much. We clear the concerns that I've seen from both your members, you know, like when the alliances come together, there are still challenges, still various powers of centers, and that's, I think, what you are trying to put together so that there's a respect for your authority. The candidates that are filed, in many cases, mayors, MPs, councillors, Resolute Party, and Nrpup. I think this has provided concern. Is there a policy direction of what you are going to do about this? And this can be answered by either of you.
Yes, indeed, Ambassador. There is a policy direction. We were waiting for the end of the nomination period so that we look at who has filed where. And against the lists that we had initially approved, we are going to provide direction so that our voters are not confused. Our Secretary Generals are sitting with provincial chairmen right across the country to assemble reports that we are going to use to make decisions. So by tomorrow, we expect that these lists will be with us and will provide direction to our members and indeed to the Zambian people.
Oh, wonderful. I think that is very good news. Honorable Makebi Zulu, let's go to issues of the country. What purposed you, what drove you to join hands with Honorable Makebi, with Honorable Brian Mundubile? Because I think this has been a call on Honorable Brian Mundubile, on yourself, and on all the leaders in the opposition, whether it's Honorable Harry Kalawa, Dr. Fred Membe, you know, KBF, and others. There is pressure on all of you to come together. And this union provided some hope, but others are saying this is a PF alliance. Just answer that question, and are there measures to go out to the rest of the opposition so that you can hold hands?
I think we're coming from a backdrop where every one of us was talking about the issue of unity. But I think very few were willing to live up to that call for unity. Because every one of us knows we have something to offer to our country. We know what we've prepared for all this while. We know that we have people that believe in us, trust us, and we know that they would rather you take up the top position. That is a fact that that almost everyone would stand by. However, if we are going to be people that are going to keep our word to the Zambian people, the ones we seek to serve, to say we are capable of coming together, it must be demonstrated. I don't believe that politics should be without morality or without ethics. I think we all have to live up to our word, because a man is only as good as his word. So in that particular case, if we are going to tell the Zambian people that we will come together and they embrace the coming together and they have endorsed the coming together, then we do them good to come together. It is no wonder that upon the announcement of our union, you notice how that most of the Zambians, most of the Zambians' hope was restored. Those that said they would not vote in this particular election came back and said, we are going to vote because you have come together. At that particular point, it was not known as to who was going to be first and who was going to be second. But in this particular case, we agreed to say, listen, what we are fighting for is bigger than who is holding what position. We have to agree that we are going to be of one mind. You do recall in the Bible when the children of Israel were building the Tower of Babel, the Bible says that God saw that they spoke one language and they were one. And he said, if they continue like this, nothing will stop them. So motivated by the idea of being one and the slogan of saying together we can, we decided, let's sit down, let's save the Zambian people, let's agree on what we're going to do for the Zambian people. And we seem to be of one mind that we need to restore the rule of law. We need to restore the dignity or integrity of our system, the separation of powers. We need to do all that. Before all that, Brian and I are friends. We were both provincial ministers appointed by President Edgar Chagwa. We used to sit next to each other, and we did our masters in constitution and administrative law together. So we are that close. We know each other in and out, and we know what bothers the other and what doesn't. We know how to talk to each other. So in this particular case, we had a candid discussion to say, listen, let us make this about Zambia. If we can agree on these fundamentals that we are about Zambia, I'm willing even to take up the second position so that we can together motivate the Zambians towards a changed Zambia. But this relationship is only going to work if it is about Zambia. And my brother gave me his word, and my word, and we are giving you our word as Zambians that this is about you. This is not only a response to a call for unity, it is also a patriotic response to the way that our country is, to say we need to fix this. And we can only fix this together. I don't have to be on top to fix this. But if we are going to sit and agree to say these are the fundamentals, then we can still work together and come up with something. That is what informed that decision. And so far we're doing very well. We agreed, of course, that we're going to field candidates in different places. For Copperbelt and Lusaka, we've agreed between ourselves that within this week we are going to harmonize and ensure that in every constituency there is one candidate, because we don't want our candidates to be competing amongst each other. We want the candidates that we agreed were going to stand to be the ones to stand. The ticket that we agreed was going to be used to be the one to be used. Of course, there will be issues that will have to be dealt with where persons refuse so to comply, and we've agreed on the modus operandi as to how best we can compel them to ensure that we come together, collectively win this election for Zambia. People that are looking forward to a change of government, and they are looking forward to us demonstrating that we are able to agree and can be trusted with responsibility to take care of the country. And we'll start by demonstrating this responsibility to unite ourselves before we can unite the country, which is so much divided.
Thank you very much. Let me turn to the president. Mr. President, the burden on you is extremely heavy. You are the flag bearer. You are carrying this vision for both alliances. How are you dealing with this? Because Zambians are looking for a solution. The state of our country is pitiful. the state of our economy, the abuse of human rights, the isolation we are suffering, worldwide. The country is in dire strait, and the people of Zambia are looking up to strong leadership. Are you able to provide that leadership? Are you able to form a team, to consult with one another? Just give us some insights.
Yes, thank you, Ambassador. Maybe before I tackle that question, I just want to add to what my brother earlier said. Your question was that because we are both from PF, and others may feel it's just the reunion or PF coming together. If you look at the Tonse PF Pamosi Alliance, we have a number of presidents that did not necessarily come from the PF. I have in mind State Council Chifomu Banda, who's the president for FDD. He's been vice president until the demise of President Nawakwi. You have President Sakwiba Skota. You have President Nasser Musoni. You have President Nawa, Reverend Nawa. You have President Bright Musoma. You have President Kopulande Sebastian. You have President Kapembwa Simbao. You have President Sinkamba, President Mwenya Musenge, among others. So clearly, this alliance has other people that came from other political parties. But if you look at the history of Zambian politics, at one time, Ambassador, we were all UNIP. And then we all later became MMD. At least for those that went into politics early, majority were actually MMD. From MMD, people went into FDD, others went into National Party, PF came, and many other political parties. So when you look at the background, you note that we have a common background as to which political parties we belonged to previously. So that may not be the issue. And again, like my brother said, we had to agree on the fundamentals. We looked at what was urgent for the country. We realized that addressing the issues of poverty were urgent to this country. Addressing the issues of corruption were urgent to this country. So we sat down to agree on how we're going to fight poverty. We sat down to agree on how we're going to reduce vulnerability for our citizens, to make every Zambian count. We began to look at issues to do industrialization, to champion job creation. We looked at how citizens have been treated previously. So we agreed to move the Zambians from the margins to the center of policy and economic transformation, making the youths the drivers of this transformation. So once we agreed on those fundamentals, we said, my brother, let's do this for Zambia. And that's exactly how we found ourselves where we are. So as regards the team, if you look at the people that we have in the alliance put together and those that we are talking to outside, we really have what it takes to deliver for and on behalf of the Zambian people. My job as president is to assemble a competent team, a team that will be able to respond to the many aspirations of the Zambian people. And so far, from the meetings that we've had between my brother and other people, we have capacity locally. We have capacity within the alliance and beyond to assemble a team that would deliver for and on behalf of the Zambian people. So what was important, Emmanuel, was to agree on where we're going to take the country. Like I said, police reform without state reform has previously failed the Zambian people. So we're going to look at the basic structure of government so that even as we come up with new policies, the foundation would have been worked on. You also note that in whatever we have put the Zambian at the center, And this Zambian that we have put at the center is not any other Zambian. We have picked on the most vulnerable. When we talk about Nakulu Mutinta Nemisepela Pamakasa, we are looking at the most vulnerable member of society, so that our policy formulation is informed by the circumstances surrounding this particular Zambian. Emmanuel, you note that even our friends in the EPND, they've talked about policies which at the face of it look like good policies. The question that you should ask, why is it that on the other hand, an ordinary person is complaining every day? The cost of mealie meal, the cost of basics, youth still remain unemployed. So if at all the policies that they have are working, who are they working for? And that is our starting point. We are putting our people, removing them from the margins and placing them at the center of policy and economic transformation, so that the policies are not in a vacuum, they're not in the air. They should address challenges that our people are facing. We are looking at lived realities. So the policies must immediately impact on the people on the street, not policies that are praised by people outside this jurisdiction. Yes, we've got businessmen. We have nothing against investors. They must invest and get their profits. But what we are saying is that as the investors are posting their profits, it's also good to see Zambians smiling as they would have benefited from these good policies. So in sum, all we are saying is that our policies will respond to the lived realities. They will not be policies in the air. Whether we are talking about the fight against corruption, we are going to talk about practical steps on how we're going to address it. If we are talking about unemployment, we have come out in the open to say, one, we're going to focus on industrialization. This industrialization will start with the mining sector to lead the value, as it were. There'll be value chain centers within the agricultural sector, tourism sector, and many other sectors. And we know that from these reforms and these policies, we are going to create employment. Emmanuel, you know that to fight poverty, you must create employment. And to create employment, you must industrialize. And to industrialize, you must invest. So these are practical steps that we are taking for and on behalf of the Zambian people, taking into account the most vulnerable member of the society.
Wonderful, wonderful. I like that last line. It's a good soundbite. Honorable Makebi Zulu, I think the country is fractured. The divisions are truly worrying. We are divided by ethnic lines. We are divided, other than the ordinary classes that were divided, the poor and the rich. But now the divisions have gone to families, to tribes, and many people are afraid of where this country is. What will you, your team, with the leader, Honorable Brian Mundubile, do to bring back the unity that this country was renowned for?
We agreed on the bottom line. And we know that even all these policies that we want to bring across will not count for anything. Even the transformation that we desire will not count for anything if we do not change the governance structure of this country. It is not proper for us to continue with the kind of governance system that we have and expect different results. We do not need to have a system that relies on good people for work and flourish or respond to the needs of the people. What we agreed on is that we need to work on the fundamental document that we have. That is the Constitution. We need a new Constitution altogether so that we may have systems that work for the Zambian people, not systems that work for the incumbent. In the event that you have another Hakainde Hichilema, you want him to be governed by a document to say there are certain things that can be done, there are certain things that should be done without necessarily exploiting what the law necessarily is or what the law was necessarily intended to achieve. In this particular case, we do not want a governance system that changes laws to fit a particular situation. For example, Bill 7. Bill 7 was never about the people of Zambia. Bill 7 is a bill that belongs to the UPND. It was intended to serve the needs of the UPND, and so far as it related to delimitation of constituencies, just so that those that are there, they reduce on the competition that they would face in those constituencies. Has it worked? Maybe not, because we're seeing the cracks that are there now. But we're saying let's have a governance system where there's police reforms, there's judicial reforms that are going to respond to the needs of the people. You reactivate the office of the public protector to be able to do their job and be a check on the system, or at least on officers in government. Reforms in the civil service that are not going to be discriminatory in the have been. Bring back professionalism that ought to be there. That is something that we have been looking to do. That is something that we're going to do, because these divisions that we have occurred in this country have not occurred organically. They've occurred because of politics. They've occurred because politicians have sought to politicize the civil service. They've sought to politicize even our way of life. I never had to ask my brother what tribe he was. The first thing I saw was a friend. I don't care what tribe is from. And I'm sure that's the same issue when it comes to everyone else. But this time around, you have to ask or get favors by reason of your name. Why should it be like that? Why should we continue like that? Why don't we spread these opportunities to everyone across board without necessarily looking at who they are or where they come from? That is very unnecessary, and that can only be done if we are going to change our governance system. And I'm sure everyone out there agrees that we need to have institutions that are strong, institutions that respond to the aspirations of the Zambians, institutions that respect the concept of one Zambia and one nation, and not a funny database that exists only amongst a few, and no one knows how names got or found themselves onto that database, and how that database only produces names for people from a particular region. Nobody knows how that is happening. What we want is transparency. What we want is accountability. What we want is responding to the needs and aspirations of the people. Because after all is said and done, power is temporary. We are going to leave, someone else is going to take up these positions. And that person who takes up these positions should not be the one to determine the course that this country is going to take. We should fashion that in the founding documents that we have, so that everyone is just following through what the founding documents desire that we should take. And that way, we're going to deal with this issue of divisions.
Thank you very
So
much.
maybe I can add something there, Ambassador.
Yes, please.
Yes, like my brother has said, Zambia is divided. Our country is divided. So we are going to go straight to look at what brings about this division. So if you look at employment opportunities, when there's no equitable distribution of employment opportunities across the regions, this brings about this causes division. If you look at the selective application of the law, this also brings about division. So what we have decided, like we mentioned earlier, to address division and bring about unity. Number one, we'll be focused on depoliticizing the civil service, professionalizing the civil service. Once we implement a merit-based recruitment approach within the civil service, we begin to reduce divisions. Once we look at reforming our justice system to ensure that we depoliticize the law enforcement system, we depoliticize the justice system, and ensure that we have an independent judiciary, we begin to reduce division, because the actions of these organs of the state are fueled, this division, as it were. At the same time, Ambassador, we are going to look at reforms, coming up with measures that will ensure that even between me and my brother, we follow the Constitution. It's not enough to have a good Constitution. The provisions of the Constitution must be implemented. How do we make sure that these provisions are implemented? Currently, we have certain safeguards and watchdogs which have not been actualized. He talked about the Office of the Public Protector. We also, like in other jurisdictions, will come up with something like the Constitution Implementation Commission. It's a commission that looks at the implementation of the Constitution. If at all we had such an institution, for instance, and you look at the provisions of Article 259, Article 259 mandates an appointing authority to make appointments taking into account diversity, age, among others. So clearly, there must be a body that ensures that all those who should make appointments are making these appointments in accordance with the Constitution. So we are looking at reforms that will force whoever is in office to be able to follow the law. And I'm sure that once we embark on a merit-based recruitment approach, once we depoliticize the civil service, once we professionalize the civil service, and put in certain reforms that protect constitutionalism, we should be able to narrow the widening gap insofar as these divisions are concerned. So we are determined, and we are very sure that we will achieve. Many Zambians, even those that may benefit from these divisions at the moment, have realized that this country cannot go forward if we continue to be divided. So these are some of the areas that we would want to look at.
Yes, indeed, Mr. President. My question to you, one of them came from civil society, because I'd asked people to send questions in advance. They are worried first about transparency and accountability, and they feared that President Hakainde Hichilema didn't declare his assets. Of course, the law does give loopholes in which these assets that are declared to ECZ are never made public. Are you willing, or are you going to demand that the assets for all the 14 of you that have, and your running mates, that have been filed in successfully should be made public? The second item is the fear of our people that we have onset tyranny and a dictatorship. The passing of Bill 7, cyber crimes laws that have literally shut our people, the appointments of up to 50 judges without a proper process, and sale of state assets. There are all these concerns, and our people fear that we could have gone so far away to restore our country. Does your alliance recognize the depth to which our country has sunk? I think those two questions, they can be complemented by both of you.
Yes, Ambassador. My brother and I sit in a very unique position. Like he said in his introductory remarks, we actually sat in the same class as we were studying constitutional and administrative law at master's level. So we strongly believe in constitutional fidelity. Ambassador Mamba, it is said the greatness of a nation is judged from its fidelity to the Constitution. So for me and my brother, that's our starting point. Unfortunately, it's something that we cannot escape. It's something that we hold very dear. So it's expected that insofar as maintaining maintaining the constitutional order is non-debatable. If we are going to make this country great, it should be translated in local languages. And most importantly, there must be some civic education. People must understand what the Constitution is. They must understand the basic ingredients that will go in the Constitution and how the Constitution helps to shape society. Once the people have appreciated that, then they begin to contribute to how they want to be governed. Once we've come up with a good Constitution, we will ensure that that Constitution is fully implemented. We know that one of the things to look at that have been of serious concern is, for instance, the appointment of judges. Yes, we know that many Zambians have raised concerns. These concerns have not only been raised by ordinary citizens, but even within the profession. So once we implement the reforms, we expect that those brothers and sisters that will ascend to judgeship should be men and women of impeccable repute, people that will be able to discharge their functions with diligence, with excellence, so that even ordinary members of society can begin to rebuild confidence in our justice system, not as the case is today. So those are some of the areas that we'll look at. And as regards declaration of assets, this is an imperative. It's a must. You can't talk about fighting corruption when you're taking over levers of power and you don't declare your assets. You don't want anybody to know your starting line. Between my brother and I, we're saying we will demand that even the 14 that are filed in, our declarations must be made public, so that 2-3 years later, the Zambian people can audit. They can audit our assets. They can audit what we have acquired in that period. We cannot fight corruption when we don't come to the table with open hands, with clean hands. So President Hakainde Hichilema has found it very difficult to fight corruption because from the beginning, he began by keeping his declaration secret. One wonders why. He went ahead, he went after opposition leaders, arrested them, threw them in jail, accusing them of corruption, accusing them of theft. And yet he himself did not declare what he came in with. So it's very, very important that as leaders, not only, but even those that will be appointed to positions of ministers, should be able to declare their assets like they always do to Parliament. And these declarations must be made public so that the Zambian people can participate, can bring information. If one under-declares and some neighbor is aware of other assets that are not included, come and whisper. We have leaders in government today that were preaching about lifestyle audits not very long ago. The moment they got into government, they abandoned that topic, as it were. So we want to put up a genuine fight against corruption by reforming how the Anti-Corruption Commission works, the reporting system at the Anti-Corruption Commission, but at the same time ensuring that as leaders we remain so that we can justify our assets, we can justify what we own after our term of office or within that period. That's the only way you can fight genuinely.
Thank you very much. Honorable Makebi Zulu, you've heard the ruling party boast because there is a decision for an alternative government, but the ruling party has a standard argument that they've resolved the crisis of the economy, that they've $6.5 billion in foreign reserve, the inflation rate is single digit, they've rescheduled the debt, free education has brought up to 2.5 million people on board, and that CDF is a resource that has been brought to the local area. And they ask, what opposition, what can you do, what are your alternative policies? Please speak to that.
See, it's a mockery to the people of Zambia when you're going to talk about we have 6.5 billion in foreign reserves, all that talk, graphs, and everything that is going there. And yet our debt has ballooned from about 13 to 14 billion dollars to $26 billion. So if you're going to have a debt of $26 billion and it has ballooned from about 14, what have you done with that money that was there? Why do you have these monies in reserves when you are owing so much? Where is that money coming from? All those questions need to be asked. You are saying that the inflation rate has gone down. Why isn't it translating to food at household level? Why isn't it translating to the prosperity of Zambians? Why is it that all this talk about life being better in Zambia is only supposedly being felt by those that are in government? It means there is something that is fundamentally wrong. We are saying, can't we have this feeling of improvement in the economy beyond graphs, digits, and numbers to bringing it down to a household level? Development is a new formula for determining the development of the country. This is at household level. Do people afford 3 meals in a day today? You argue to say we brought in free education. Free education from what has it become free? People were paying 150 kwacha to 200 kwacha as fees in schools. Then you say we have removed this 150 kwacha or 200 kwacha from the fees. Then you increase the price of milling, you increase the price of cooking oil, you increase the price of all these amenities such that all that saving of 150 kwacha is not felt at household level. The very children that you wish to go into school are going back home where there's no food. The very children who are supposed to go to school where donors were helping you to feed them have pulled out, saying that we can no longer help you because you're not transparent in the manner that you deal with resources. You are not accountable in that you deal with our resources. At this time of UPND, we have seen how that those that help this country, those that have assisted us in different areas, have pulled back of issues of transparency and accountability. The government of President Hakainde Hichilema has been found wanting. The Americans have pulled out. European Union have withheld most of their funding that they used to help them because of issues of transparency and accountability. Even when approached and asked to account, those that were supposed to be found wanting have only with a slap on the wrist. And the people that were giving you this money, the Americans are saying, why have you done this? Why haven't you been accountable enough? This money is for the people of Zambia. It's not for those that are governing Zambia. It is for the people of Zambia to enjoy, or at least to improve the living standards of the people of Zambia. Now, all these things have been happening because the systems of governance have been weakened. I did refer to issues to do with the judiciary. And you will recall, Ambassador, that the first thing that this government did was to weaken the judiciary. How did they weaken the judiciary? With the security of tenure of office holders, especially in the judiciary. You weaken them because they begin to be afraid of losing their job. It's for that reason that you have judgments such as the Mopani one, where the judiciary is saying, well, it's okay, you can you can dispose of assets without the approval of Parliament. It is because you weakened the judiciary by making it easy to fire judges that they could even renege on their own judgment. After 4 times ruling on the eligibility of ECL, they decide to change their mind on the eligibility of ECL. It is because you've weakened the judiciary that they can't even declare the Cyber Crimes Act unconstitutional. Because you have this big brother who's watching over their shoulders and who has made it very easy to fire a judge. And the judiciary itself has not helped in this matter. Because when they were faced with the situation of the DPP and how the procedures that are to be followed were akin to those that were to be followed for getting rid of a judge, in their minds, they were looking at an individual. But when they dealt with that individual and that individual went away, the chickens came back home to roost, and they were haunted by their own decisions. In that now, someone can just wake up, sit in the morning, decide there's a prima facie case, sit in the afternoons and decide that you should no longer be judged. And by evening, the president says, go home. We have to strengthen the institutions of governance. We have to strengthen the judiciary. We have to secure the tenure in office of the judges. Then we'll have justice prevail. Then there will be a proper check on the government, on the government. Here they are. They've appointed 50 judges. What was the procedure for dealing with these 50 judges? You know how rigorous the system is supposed to be. You know how that they're supposed to appear before a committee and be interrogated, other stakeholders to come in and talk to them and also present themselves. In a period of 2 weeks, we dealt with 50 judges and questioned, and they're going to sit and determine matters. We've not ascertained where they are coming from and whether they're deeply rooted. We've seen others coming in all the way from outside straight to the Supreme Court when there are files that are lying at the Anti-Corruption Commission to deal with that. What was the rush of getting all these judges in? Unless there are ill intentions of wanting to this manipulation of the judiciary, there's no way you would rush through 50 judges just like that. It was really necessary. So in view of all this, we are saying, let us prioritize accountability, let us prioritize transparency, let us prioritize constitutionalism. This issue of the Cyber Crimes Act, it is keeping most people out of the country, not because they did anything wrong, but because they disagree with what government started. You put them on the red list. They come into the country. When they come in, you get them at the airport and subject them to a system that is designed or rigged to convict them. There is Honorable Nakachinda, who is facing such injustice at this particular point, because even the judiciary is afraid to deal with his matters. It is time to reset battle. It is time for Zambians to wake up and say, this is not the Zambia we want. This is not the Zambia we subscribe to. This is not what we meant when we said Bali should fix it. Bali has failed to fix the system. And
thank you, Honorable Makebi Zulu. Let me throw the same question to the President. And I know you are all busy doing a lot of things and we have to release you as soon as possible. But let me bring in the President on the same question. When you hear the successes that the UPND parrot, although the food basket is at its highest, but I say we've resolved all these issues. We've even reopened the mines and we've ended political violence. Just an answer to that, Mr. President. Hello, Honorable Mundubile. I think my technical team, can.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard my question. Yeah.
Yes, I did. I
Thank
did.
You.
So, Ambassador Mwamba, as Tonse PF Pamosi Alliance, we believe that development should be felt before it's talked about. So what we have today is development that is just talked about, and that development is not felt by the Zambian people. So when you look at where we are, I'm sorry that we can't avoid to look at the performance of the UPND in the last 5 years. So many things have happened, Ambassador Mwamba. Let's assume that the UPND got into government and just sat there and did nothing. Where would we have been? If they had just gotten into government, do nothing, but ensure that the state institutions are functioning, the economy would have actually been better. Because today, Comrade Emmanuel, you've seen that the UPND are running a consumption economy because all their budgets are consumption budgets. If I remind you, if you look at the PF, for instance, the highest budget under the Patriotic Front was 120 billion. That was in the 2021 budget. The first budget under the UPND was 100 kwacha, which was 50 billion over and above the highest budget under the PF. So when we did the numbers, we had done numbers after 4 years and established that the UPND had approved up to 900 billion kwacha in budgets in year 4. Compared to the same period under the PF, we were around 470 billion. So you've got 900 billion in 4 years. There was 470 billion on the other side. So if you look at development, for instance, Comrade Dimano Mwamba, let's start with, which is the flagship project for the UPND. Flagship CDF was only 19 billion after 4 years. They had only disbursed up to 19 billion kwacha. The question that begs, 20 billion from 900 billion, where did the 800 billion go? Where did they spend the 800 billion? Like we said earlier, development should be felt even before it's talked about. We challenged the Vice President on the floor of the House to tell us just 2 projects they had done in the 4 years that been in power. And the Vice President could not answer that question. Why? Because the UPND has been running consumption budgets. Our solution will go for the production and growth-led strategies. We'll be focused more on industrialization. Which is enough money in this country to industrialize. So once we plug the leakages, you have leakages. If you look at the FIC reports, within 4 years, there were up to $10 billion in illicit financial flows reported under the FIC. So let's book that amount, Ambassador. You had $2.5 billion, which was owed to the ZCCM-IH, Zambian government, which was illegally repatriated to some foreign company by a mining house. The matter was before the police, and before it could progress, Comrade Musokotwane went and withdrew that matter. You had 1 billion liability to ZRA by one mining house, and we were told the decision was made, and that company only paid 23 billion. So you actually, just in these flows, even before we talk about corruption, this country lost over $13 billion. So, Comrade Mwamba, let's say we looked at this $13 billion and employed it in the economy. Today, we would have been talking about free education, not only when it comes to fees. We would have been talking about uniforms as part of free education. We would have been talking about books as part of free education. We would have been talking about some basic transport. We would have been talking about sports as part of free education. So today, the free education that we talk about is only to do with the 200 kwacha that was removed for fees. I want to put it clearly. We will maintain free education, but we are going to do more under the free education policy. Because like I've demonstrated, just in the past 5 years, there's been enough money to do more under free education than the EPND has done. If, for instance, they had put up measures to stop these illicit flows, we would have been able to pay for books, for uniforms, and even transport in some cases under free education. We would have been able to pay even up to 1,200 kwacha in social cash transfer per month, as opposed to 800 kwacha in 2 months. So when you look at the performance of the economy, it doesn't matter what the EPND can say today. The truth of the matter, Ambassador Mwamba, is that the UPND's performance, insofar as the economy is concerned, has been dismal. And Zambians have regretted believing the UPND when they were promising heavens. They promised jobs. They promised lower prices of essential commodities. What is the position today? So Zambians cannot bask in the joy of single-digit inflation, they cannot continue to bask in 5 billion worth of reserves when the economy is performing poorly, as it were. So from where we stand, the comrade Emmanuel Mwamba, we believe in putting Zambians first. The policies that will come up with will be those that will address the lived realities of the Zambian people. How did you expect to grow the economy, for instance, Comrade Mwamba, when we had 3 years of deficits in terms of load shedding? Because government had prioritized export of power as opposed to providing power to SMEs. How did we expect to create employment when our small and medium enterprises were folding every day? So when colleagues come up and they begin screaming figures on how the economy has grown, we ask questions. On what basis? If this economy has had no power for 3 years, what miracle have you performed to grow this economy? So we are resolved. We want to embark on a program where we promote agriculture for job creation, and this is by creating agro-processing zones. We are going to ensure that our mining sector takes a lead in the industrialization transformation. We'll ensure that tourism contributes meaningfully, to the GDP. And of course, we'll also ensure that we promote the digital economy so that our youths and many other people can begin to participate in this economy. And also, tapping on the talent that many of our youths have, we're talking about creative arts. We want to ensure that we transform creative arts into an economic sector where our young people participate meaningfully in these particular sectors. And of course, the so-called Jerabos, the small-scale miners, we are going to formalize that sector. And we know, even from the evidence we have from Ghana, that we can get meaningful contributions from these economies. So the economy has not performed under the UPND. There is no evidence to show that the economy has performed.
Thank you very much. Mwashako na kulumutinta, your famous illustration.
Mutinta Pamakasa is the focus. If we are going to give incentives to the mining sector and they are promising to ramp up production, it must have a direct impact on Nakuru Mutinta Pamakasa. If we are going to talk about improving or creating value chains in the agriculture sector, it's because Kalungwishi farming block in Lunte will employ a number of people in that area, including Abeshkuru Akwana Kulumutinta. So, like I said earlier, we are moving these vulnerable Zambians from the margins to the center of policy and economic transformation. So Nakuru Mutinta is there through and through, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Please drink some water, Mr. President, and the running mate, Honorable Makebi Zulu. We'll take some calls and also we'll resolve some issue, but I think so far, so good. We'll let you go, not make you stay for long, but we'll leave the program for people to call that will not manage to call in this short period. So we'll take a commercial break to allow our leaders to drink some water. When I come back from the other side, let's hear from you. The phone lines are open. I'm hosting the two presidents, President Honorable Brian Mundubile and his running mate Honorable Makebi Zulu. Let's just take just a minute. Let's take your calls quickly. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. This is Sinyangwe Dani on the line.
Yes, please be fast.
Thank you very much. President Mundubile na Vice President Makebi Zulu twatotela sana na mwisa pamo nokuombela tapamo. I'm just asking you, President Mundubile na President Makebi Zulu, using any social media to reach out to so many people, and I have some people that you need to work with, starting with Emmanuel Mwamba. Then in this group, Mundubile na Brian Makebi, incorporate people like when you need to put the family together because we are going to use social media. Incorporate people like Beverly Moore. Incorporate people like Queen Pum. Incorporate people like Tandiwe Ketes Nkoma. Incorporate people like Blaze Zambia. Incorporate people like even our own sister who is in England, the other one, because social media is what is going to reach out to many people. Now that we're a family, let's work together as one family.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution.
My name is Alex. Good evening.
Good evening, Alex.
Yeah, first and foremost, greetings to the two white men of the land. My contribution is not a question. My contribution is direct to them, which I think they are part of my concern. They are taking the government from things of August this year. They are coming down. But they are forming a government which has a lot of focus, especially on the tribal land.
Okay, the issue of unity. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll take quick questions today. If you wish to speak more, you can speak after the presidents have left. Just ask the questions so that we can allow them to answer. So one is on unity, one is on forming a team. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening, Amamba. I'm nameless as usual. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. President and the Vice. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Please continue. Please continue. Ask your questions.
Thank you so much. Bamwamba, I don't have any question to both the presidents. Yeah, I'm just trying to say that I'm a very concerned citizen of Zambia, born and bred in Zambia. Today, I find myself in a foreign country in search of a better life to sustain my family and the siblings. Yeah. Here I'm listening to both of you who have come from a long way. I mean, the two presidents, and you have seen the transformation of Zambia from what you may pronounce was better to worse. My plea to you is if you were to become the leaders of Zambia, may you please keep to your promises. Zambians are fed up of empty promises. The only person who is vulnerable is a common Zambian. So I beg you, whatever you are telling us, please keep to that. Thank you so much, Ramanda.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
The only uncle to Zambia. My question goes to President Mundubile and President Makebi Zulu. What plans do you have to incorporate the informal sector into our economy? Because I know the women from Soweto contribute so much, but they've not been so much considered in our economy, including bus drivers, bus drivers? Then lastly, when do you start hitting the ground? You should be done, I believe, by this month. You should be done by, going throughout Lusaka, begin to go out, to the outside of Lusaka in these other provinces to campaign. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take two more last ones and we ask the presidents to answer. Then we'll let the presidents answer and then they'll go. Then you can come and call. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you so much, from Kapia.
Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Abraham Rooney Kapia.
Rooney Kapia, make your contribution.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bamamba. Nachirafa na totela sana pa kumfo ntungulushi soko shiranda definitive actually charges chino pantanshi. Nachira ko fe konsendi na mshua na posta ko ifi ashala. But you tell for kumona ko bati na ma positions yote muno ko bati munesa ngama ama adoptions ya require. Babombe po wangu sana. So that tuikwata amacandidates babiri ningufwali ntimo pakumva kulandiko balandiro kwe bati barebombera pabushikubwa mayiro kuti kwafuma kwa results asimo kwe bati bakwata amacandidates umo ma constituencies monse na ma wards monse pantu fika tuchita affect na imwe ba president nga mwaisa isa mu campaign chakula mishupa ngakuya abantu babiri ku campaign makula campaign na wisa so apo pena apo mulangu chibeshani mubomberepo efuna chirafa bakulanda bwana na totela.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give your question.
Good evening, Ambassador Niwamunko.
Mkaiba Munkonge, please proceed.
When Ambassador Pakuchikuero, Squete question yonse pante. President, our Vice President Makebi Zulu, I ask to receive. Lelo konsenye nkwete mwishira imwela mwanita kwa tinyachipai nde baromboko since na bakwata ama parties muri bimere alliance babule walya abali muri alya ma alliance ya campaign bali abali nsuru twagina bena abayendere na barungu campaign ile ya mine ko mu 2021 babe kwati bababika kukunuma Pari urawe no muru wa president wa Maranz wabure kona ama yufi ntungurusha ama yufi bamunkonge ma strategies ayo mlefu aya mwadi kwa tama namba ya ntungulushi na ma secretaries babo mubatumine. Thank you very much. Yeah. People are advising about teams. I think please reach out to the leadership and see how you can. I want good questions. Maybe let me take the last two and then we come on. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller.
Hello.
There's so many calls and they are all. Just let's start with the lady first. Hello, Mama. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution. Mkwaimayo.
President Mundubile na Vice President Makebi Zulu. If you feel like bale ba brother kwe bati na tukwate ntungulushi ma constituency simbi shidi so mfule mwaikala pashi mwalansha kwa bati twala campaign cha pali abantu babiri bantunga mwasenda wakuri ba na kuri ba Mundubile bose mwaminika nishama vote ya Rubana.
Mkwaimayo, your question now Basuka, I'll come and explain. Thank you very much. Let me provide guidance. This is how we are going to go about it. Let's allow the presidents to come on. the presidents will answer the questions, then we'll release the presidents. And then you can call, because the phones are jammed. And you know, they have a lot of things that they are doing. They still have meetings before they retire to bed. So presidents, please pick those about 5, 6 questions. And to all callers, please, you come and have your say after the presidents have gone. Let's start with Honorable Makebi Zulu, then we end with Honorable Brian Mundubile. And in your answers, you can give your last remarks. Just a minute. You are back. Yeah, I hope you're back. There was no volume. You can speak now.
Yes, my brother and I agreed on this very fundamental issue. The unity that we wish to foster is not only between myself and himself, but is unity in the country, unity amongst those that feel Makebi Zulu has got something to offer, and those that feel that Brian Mundubile has something to offer. We need to bring, or indeed bridge this gap, and ensure that we make this campaign about Zambia. We make this campaign about unity. The cause for unity, we have continued to preach unity. We're still talking to our colleagues on the political scene to say how best can we work together. It is from that we're saying, let us bring together, or at least have single candidates in almost all the constituencies to maximize on the number of government that we're going to have for purposes of effecting the change that the Zambians really want. And my mother did call to say we need to keep these very promises that are that are being made, because there are people that are in foreign countries trying to earn a living, trying to make life better, not only for themselves but for their families as well. We want that every investment that you put back home as you are working there is worth it. Not a situation where the exchange rate is not even supporting you. We have a duty to you as Zambians in the diaspora to ensure that your investment in Zambia is worth it. But not only do we want you to invest back home in Zambia, we want that when you return to Zambia, you will be able to find opportunities you went out to look for. We want an economy that will respond to the needs and aspirations of the Zambians. We want to protect every Zambian who has able to say what they have to say, to protect every Zambian who has a dream to be able to achieve and realize that dream in Zambia. How do we do that? We need your cooperation. We need you to be able to wake up on the 13th of August and vote correctly. Because this time around, we are saying let us have a holistic approach towards development. Let us not rely on good people taking over our government. Let us ensure that even the good or bad people are regulated in the manner they'll conduct themselves, and they'll conduct themselves in the best interest of the Zambians. You did ask what plans do you have to incorporate the informal sector into the economy. These are discussions that we have had with my brother here, and I'll allow him. I'll let him tackle that particular point, because we had extensive discussions around this. We had extensive discussions around observance of human rights, and my brother Ronnie Kapia and the one that called to say, let us work to have single candidates. We are working on those, and we are committed to that. And comment on those issues. Rest assured that even as you go to bed tonight, we have your best interest at heart. Even as you go to bed tonight, rest assured that we will not deviate from the mission that you have given us. It is not our duty to come up with what we want for Zambia. It is for you, Zambians, to tell us what exactly you want. And you've made it abundantly clear that you need Zambia. You need a focused Zambia. You need a transparent Zambia. You need an accountable Zambia. Zambia where level. You need a Zambia where agriculture is prioritized and the dividends are seen in the economy. Mining dividends are seen in the economy and benefit the Zambians. We need a Zambia that is clean and sustainable, and that is what we're going to work at. I will let the president do sum up and respond on these issues that we have discussed, as these are things that we've discussed, and I think he's better placed to address you on them.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. The Vice President has tackled a number of issues, a number of questions that were raised. I'll start with our sister who called from the diaspora. She talked about us keeping our promise. My dear sister, that is the starting point. The starting point is that we are going out the social contract with the Zambian people. We are putting out a manifesto that is a social contract. So to give you comfort, our starting point, you see from our manifesto, is that we are moving Zambians, we are moving vulnerable citizens from the margins to the center of policy and economic transformation. What that means is that we actually focused on you. We are focused on the Zambians. We contrasted that with what has been happening. There could be good policies out there, but the question has been good for who? They may have been good for the investors, but certainly not good for the Zambian people. That is why you have reports of a performing economy on one hand, and the report of the suffering Zambians on the other. So we looked at that gap and made it our starting point that Zambians will no longer be at the margins. They will no longer be in the margins. They'll be at the center of this transformation. Starting with Nakulu Mutinta. Now, Nakulu Mutinta is a poor Zambian. This is a typical Zambian, a Zambian faced with all the problems that you can think of. And this is the person we're putting at the center of this transformation. I just want to give you comfort. But we've gone further. Like my brother, the Vice President, said earlier, we've taken a lot of time to also listen. We've listened to the civil servants. For instance, we've been listening to the teachers. Today, you've got about 50,000 teachers. There's a backlog of about 50,000 teachers who require to be upgraded. The salaries they're earning may be at certificate level, yet some of them have gone up to master's level, others at PhD, and there's been no upgrades. These are serious anomalies because in terms of human development, they've gone out of their way to improve themselves, and they're offering a better service, to our citizens, and yet they're not being compensated for it. So we'll be very specific. We'll move in cases like this to make sure that we effect these upgrades so that people can be compensated correctly for what they're supposed to be. When you talk about civil servants again, in general, we've listened to them. They have talked about swap. They are saying government owes us money in allowances, arrears, leave days, and all that. And because there's been stagnation in terms of wages and the salaries, we are forced to borrow just to make ends meet. And when we borrow, our creditors have sometimes even foreclosed on our, and yet government owes us money. Why can't we swap this debt? Because government should act as a big brother and make it easy. You see, what we believe in our alliance, Ambassador Mwamba, you don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. If you come up with good policies and the civil service is not motivated, how will they perform? You have servicemen, for instance, looking after the country, and then they have a notch adjustment system that does not work, like is the case for the teachers. They are demotivated. So you don't expect them to provide a very good service as it were. So this is our starting point. And one, we have debt swap. They've also talked to us about the lump sum payments with the pension schemes like NAPSA. We tried the partial withdrawal. They've come to realize that many of them actually were not able to use that money because of the quantum, given the many challenges that they're faced with. And they've said, we're better off with the lump sum payment so that we can do something out of that money. They're also demanding that there should be flexibility where they're able to switch between, pension schemes without any difficulties. Ambassador Mwamba, we have listened to the farmers. We understand the challenges the farmers are facing. And we're saying farmers have been unable to migrate from a FISIP into the interval. We are talking about increasing the quantum of support. But we've gone further. We've gone further to say we are going to activate the 12 farming blocks that are dotted across the country. And these farming blocks, we will attract investments, but at the same time, government will do its part in terms of backbone infrastructure in these farming blocks so that they can provide primary employment to people around those areas. And after 3 years, we expect these farming blocks to be fully fledged agro-processing industries, agro-processing parks. They should be able to create an average of 30,000 per farming block in terms of jobs. So we have listened to the farmers. We know that some farmers who are getting support through FISIP, others will get support from anchor farmers within the farming blocks throughout grower schemes, as it were. We have listened to the miners and the challenges that they're facing. We are saying there's a lot of, these miners play a pivotal role in making these mines succeed. So mines are posting profits, yet there's been stagnation in terms of salaries for these miners. To be able to improve the living conditions of these miners, we are going to look at what we're calling sectoral minimum wages. These are minimum wages specific to a sector. If a driver works for Mopani, another driver works for a subcontractor working within Mopani, their salary scales should be around the same. Because many mining houses, they've been escaping these responsibilities by outsourcing or subcontracting most of the activities, as it were. So to protect the miners, we set up these sectoral minimum wages. This will be across the sectors. It will even tackle for people like our drivers, the younger drivers, our taxi drivers, our truck drivers, because the minimum wages will be specific to a sector. That way we'll protect our workers. And further, for taxi drivers, like somebody had asked, maybe we have set up these minimum wages. As government, we'll also come up with initiatives where our youths will come up with a scheme where we give incentives and empowerment programs like Drive to Own, so that our youths do not age, do not grow old just driving somebody's vehicle. They should be able to drive up to some point and the vehicle converts to them. These are some of the programs that we're going to embark on. Small-scale mining. This sector will be formalized. It will be a formal sector. Government will get involved. Government will do studies where these youths have been mining. Governments will take these youths into incubators and conduct some clinics where we'll train them on safe mining, we'll train them on environmental protection, and at the same time, we'll train them on financial management, as it were. So in terms of incorporating the informal sector, yes, there are a number of initiatives that we'll take. You know that the mining sector is the biggest sector that provides a major resource to the investors. So when we interrogate, the Zambians are not really getting a good deal, especially when it comes to contracts and mine supplies. So we will legislate a law that will compel mining houses to guarantee up to 50% business to the Zambians. So the moment we do that, the person who had asked about, like marketeers, The moment we do that, for instance, on the Copper Belt, Northwestern, and these other places where we have big mining houses, we'll see an immediate change. The complexion of the business environment will change. For instance, if you have 5 billion worth of business coming from the mining sector per year, 50% of that is a guaranteed $2.5 billion worth of business. Meaning our people on the Copper Belt and Northwestern the province, those businessmen now begin to industrialize. Some of them will go into manufacturing of bolts and nuts, ball mills, and so on. So by growing the economy at that level, it will cascade down to even impact on the marketeers and other informal businesses. So for farmers maybe selling tomatoes or growing tomatoes, through CEC and through IDC, we want to introduce aggregators. We have a number of people that are keeping chickens, for instance. Chickens are sometimes sold at a loss. So we must be able to have aggregators where, as long as you've kept them well, when you take them to an aggregator, they must be able to pay you off and you go and continue keeping your chickens. The people growing tomatoes, most of the tomatoes go to waste at Soweto market because there's no market. A box of tomatoes costing 200 kwacha today, the following day is 50 kwacha. We must guarantee some minimum price where the farmers can post a profit. So by introducing aggregators, people who can value add. So government has to play a role. Remember that government is there to help its people. So government can't sit back and see tomato farmers becoming bankrupt. People who are keeping livestock, chickens, goats, becoming bankrupt. So government will play a role through aggregation, big brother role, to ensure that once you've done your part, government will offtake what you have produced. But at the same time, will ensure that you would have been keeping your chickens being supervised by extension officers, as it were. So there's a role that government has to play in what you're doing. So clearly, I think these are some of the areas that we are looking at. We are also looking at incorporating the disabled. Remember, even the disabled, the differently abled citizens are moving from the margins to the center of policy and economic transformation. The fact that we are looking at a digitally abled government, we will find our brothers who are differently abled getting into top positions in government because there's something they can do. We are interacting with most of them, and we discover that we are underutilizing, some of our youths. So, Ambassador Mwamba, those are the few responses that we can give. We'll soon start discussing sector by sector. We want to be hosted on your various platforms where we pick, for instance, the agriculture sector, and we spend an hour, 30 minutes just talking about agriculture, so that our people can properly understand what we have in store for them. If it's the mining sector, we want imisepela kukikonge, kukanyelele, vaishivo kuti yo kanshi vala tontonka nyapo, if we blast to the fire, by investor waisa, investor fuli kusamba greenfield. If we investor kwamba greenfield, fidefuma dump site, fia misepela shesu, ishikwete nchito. So we want to come and explain nokutila, mwe misepela, fia fintu fienu, when we create employment, you migrate into that formal sector and be able to look after your families. So that would be my response, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Yeah, in fact, I'll be inviting, all of you who have successfully filed. We want to hear your solutions. I think the country knows what the problem is. The country is looking for leadership. And for a technical assessment, I hope that you will find time in your tight campaign schedule to come back. We'll just come and speak to the solutions. Some of them, I think you've given hints and summaries to what you wish to do. Let's close this segment of the program. The next one is for Just Cause, so you Zambians can breathe. So I'll invite Honorable Makebi Zulu to give his last remarks, and then President Honorable Brian Mundubile also to give his last remarks. Then we will revert to you, the callers, and we'll release our leaders. Let's start with Honorable Makebi Zulu for his last remarks.
Well, in my last remarks, I would like to speak to the Zambians. This is a very important year for us as Zambia, where we are at crossroads and we have to make a decision. This decision is beyond politics or the usual things that we do on a day-to-day basis. This decision is for the heart and soul of the country. I'm very certain that none of you, given a chance, would want to live or relive the last 4 or 5 years that we have lived for the next 5 years. These are whispers at your kitchen tables where you are not even able to express yourself publicly. But we say to you, there is hope. And that hope should not be lost at this point. Our coming together has been to restore that hope, where you're going to have a leadership that listens to you, a leadership that focuses on you, a leadership that focuses on what is in the best interest of the country. We have to move from a place where we worship politicians as though we're not the ones who put them in that place to do what we require them to do, and hold them accountable to their word, hold them accountable to the law that we put in place to govern their conduct, hold them accountable even to the very life that is said to be the lowest amongst ourselves. As my brother says, Nakulumutinta
Pamakasa nemisepera.
Nemisepera. Yes, we have to hold them accountable to that extent, and we are willing and open to be held accountable to that extent. Let's not make this decision based on partisan lines. Let it be about Zambia. It should be about Zambia because after we are done and after we are long gone, Zambia will still be there. The freedom that we are experiencing today, tomorrow is Africa Freedom Day, will be a point of reflection as to whether we have gained much more from the freedom that our forefathers fought for, or we are regressing. The next part of our lives is how do we make life better for that youth out there? How do we connect that youth to industry so that they are able to find a livelihood without necessarily having to look for a job? How do we empower our women so that they are able to have a livelihood that responds to their needs? This can only be done if we make the right decision. There are many things that we've talked about on this program and many other things that will unfold as we go on. And those are just about the heart and soul of the country and regaining it from what the UPN did it to. We are calling on you to make the right decision. And the decision that you're going to make is to vote Pelamp, to vote Pachola, so that we, with you, can make a difference that would be proud to look at and say there was a time when we thought we'd go under, but we worked for ourselves and we rescued ourselves. That is our clarion call to the Zambians. And for all out there, let us respect the issue of the opposition coming together. Let all teams now join as one and speak one voice. Let us put aside our differences and see the greater picture, and that greater picture being Zambia. My brother, we have this responsibility. We have this responsibility to deliver to the needs of the Zambian people. We are that symbol of hope to most of them. The excitement that we've experienced today, we were in Matero when we went to church.
That's right.
The other day, we were at church, at the Catholic Church, celebrating the life of Archbishop Ali Banda. And the Zambians have spoken in more words than can be further clarified, that they like the union. But beyond the union, they want us to work and respond to their call. I will hold you accountable. You have to hold me accountable.
Yes, it is.
Let's work for the Zambian people.
Yes, that's the social contract that we have. Yes, Ambassador.
I
You
can see the
see,
Vice President has already done my work. You can just give us closing remarks, especially on the issue of hope. Our people fear that we may not have free and fair elections, that we have over 12,400 polling stations, and you, colleagues, may not, hold government accountable to ensure that the will of the people delivered at the ballot is protected. They fear that you may not be in the 226 constituencies. They fear that although they deposit this hope in you, that it may be squandered. Please give hope and the measures that you could be doing to ensure that that vote will be protected.
yes, the starting point, Ambassador, I saw one gentleman celebrating the seats that went unopposed. There were some seats in some region, in one of the provinces that went unopposed. That should have been a source of concern. The UPND attempted 5 times to stand. President Hakainde Hichilema attempted 5 times. And in all those 5 times, his candidates were allowed to file wherever they wanted to file. Why has it become difficult now? I would like to remind President Hakainde Hichilema that we are one Zambia, one nation. If my brother in Wengwa wants to stand independent, give him the freedom. The gentleman is on the run because they're looking for him. They want him to withdraw. What kind of democracy is that? Many of our brothers in some of these areas that are traditionally strongholds of the UPND were intimidated. They could not file. Those that managed, we asked them to file as independent candidates. Now, that should be a source of concern. And it's indeed regrettable that the government that we have today could take this democracy to its lowest ebb. It should not be the case. Let's be fit to compete. Let candidates file. Let candidates compete. And let the best man win. Yes, look at what happened to our dear brother Gary Nkombo. Gary Nkombo, when I served as government chief whip, he was the pillar for the UPND on the other side. They called him Mazembe. This is the gentleman that would fight battles on the floor of the House. He contributed greatly, and everybody knows that. President Hakainde Hichilema knows that. We all know. We respected him as an opposition leader. We were equal to the task. We allowed them to do what they could do. We did not expect that a day would come for a comrade Nkombo to be treated like that. A comrade Mwamba, whether Gary Nkombo is UPND, he is a Zambian, he remains my brother. I have a right to speak on his behalf. And many other brothers that were hacked, beaten, all because they wanted to participate in elections. And this is the reason why Zambians are now concerned whether, these elections will be free and fair. Of course, the elections will not be free and fair, Emmanuel. That I can tell you. But what I can say also is that the will of the Zambian people will prevail. Zambians have decided, and their decision is that if in 2026 they can beat up their own members who are merely trying to compete. Imagine, Zambian people, I'm saying directly, if you gave the UPND another 5 years, what sort of a country are we going to have? If their own members, it's during their internal elections, you saw how many fights erupted within their structures. You've seen how many fights have erupted during the nomination process. In our case, Ambassador Mwamba, there have been issues as we came up as an alliance, but there is no way you're going to get reports of our people, wielding pangas and hacking themselves, like the case is with the UPND. So the UPND must understand that this is about the Zambian people, including the members of the UPND. So the very fact that they've been scaring away candidates, they've been intimidating candidates wanting to stand, has made a number of Zambians insecure. But I want to assure the Zambian people that your will certainly prevail. You have to stand firm. You have to fight on and ensure that you go and cast your vote and defend that vote. Together, We will provide the leadership. My brother and I, being in the front, will provide the leadership to see to it that we send people to those constituencies, and will of course appeal to the international community to ensure that there's presence at every polling station, so that they don't get away with an election that is marred with violence, as it were. So, Comrade Mwamba, it's a fact that President Hakainde Hichilema firstly did not want any of us to file their. It's also true that he does not want any parliamentary candidates to compete with his candidates. So that is constructive admission of failure, because if his people had performed like they were saying Kwenyu and Sot Sana, they should have allowed other people to compete. Why are they jittery when they've been reporting to a delivery of up to 95%? You can't deliver up to 95%, and you begin to parry off other candidates from standing. When you have delivered up to 95%, you should be the most comfortable candidate sitting. Your parliamentarians should have been the most comfortable. Now, because President Hakainde Hichilema knows that his government has failed, he knows that the people from their strongholds are now coming up. They are ready to change their representatives. They're actually ready to change government. They are supporting an alternative government. They have come to realize the promises the president was making were mere promises that did not deliver. So to the Zambian people, you asked my brother and I to come together. We did just that. Now is your time to deliver your part of the bargain. And your part of the bargain is to make sure you prepare your voters' cards. Begin to speak to your neighbors. Spread the good news. Tell them what we have in store for you as youths. Talk to them. Farmers, miners, small-scale miners, civil servants. Spread the good news. Prepare to go and vote. Turn out in your numbers. There can only be distortions if you don't turn out in your numbers. If there's you give chance for some people to do their mingalato. But if you turn out in your numbers to go and cast your vote, there will be no chance. And our belief is that, yes, in some cases it will be difficult because of the areas where this will be, but the overall vote will definitely go against the UPND. So lastly, I just want to leave you with 4 letters. HOPE. That's what we stand for. H for hard work. O for open government. P for a people-centered government, and E for economic transformation. That's what we stand on as an alliance. We look forward to meeting you in the battlefield. We will bring the message in person to your areas. We'll spread. My brother and I will be in different directions. Very soon, I'll be in Mugubudu. He goes to Kalumwange. Also, I've been with Chitokoloki, and we'll be all over the country. We'll be in Luampa. We'll be in Kalumwange. We'll have to come and speak to you in person. This good news. So we're very grateful for this opportunity, Ambassador Mwamba.
Oh, wonderful. Those are the leaders I was hosting today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'll release the leaders and I'll begin to take your question. They'll be listening to you, but they will not be on the platform. So let's take a commercial break, and then when we come back, I take your calls. We were hosting Honorable Makebi Zulu from the PF Pamosi Alliance and Honorable Brian Mundubile from the Tonse Alliance. Together, they have the Tonse Pamosi Alliance and 1 ticket. Leader Honorable Brian Mundubile and his running mate, Honorable Makebi Zulu. If you have to contribute, this is your time now, and let's get the program started. Okay, the lines are open. Let's hear from you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Nameless Ambassador Mwamba. Good evening.
Nameless, make your contribution.
Yeah, Mwamba. Not wish what now Mulekela Kokuma leaders but deliver this message to them. What policy are they going to put deliberately to compel, especially to transport sector? Abantu balekwa Mwamba, hapo muntu ayasinda kope motuka ya South Africa. Family bashala balekwa.
Thank you very much. The violence in Congo and South Africa.
Yes, Mwamba.
Okay.
Can you deliver this message to our leaders? Which are they led to come and put a policy deliberately to come and compel these some transporters? Others are doing fine, but others.
Thank you. Let's try to quickly take as many calls as possible. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Yes.
Hi, Ambassador Mwamba. My name is Katumbi.
And, make your contribution.
Yeah, thank you. With the coming of MZ8 and BM8, the future of our country is now clear, because what we've seen in this during this nomination, we've seen that the UPND used to accuse the opposition being violent. But now, the opposition is not there, because from their thoughts, opposition is not there. So the people who are doing that, it's a UPND. Look at what happened to Gary Nkombo. Gary Nkombo was attacked by their own, the nephew to the president. The president has failed to come up and condemn that. The only thing he said, Badiabambi. Who is Badiabambi? Badiabambi is the president and his secos. These people are doing it to disrupt the elections of Zambia, to make sure that they continue. Look at what has happened to Trevor Mwinde. Trevor Mwinde has made sure that the people who are standing against him are not standing. Why? Because they are cowards. These people are cowards. Hakainde Hichilema is a coward. And I urge the people of Zambia, let's stand up to this dictator. We're taking back to 1960, 1950, because Hakainde Hichilema is a dictator. We have to make sure Hakainde Hichilema goes back to 1950. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and give us your contribution.
Good evening, Amanda. This is Mama T.
Mama T, just a minute. I put you on speaker. You're not on speaker. Just a minute, Mama. Yes, Mama. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and make your contribution.
Yes, Amanda. Amanda. First thing first, I want to congratulate two leaders who've just left the state, and I'm sure they are listening wherever they are. Echo ndefwayo kutotela sana, ndefwa ntotele ba Makebi Zulu. Ba Makebi Zulu, being a young leader, being a vibrant leader, we know that young people will choose their own benefits on behalf of others. But with Makebi Zulu, he has chosen us, the Zambian people. It's not easy when you have your own following and then you accept to become a running mate to your fellow leader. I will thank him, and I want to tell him to say his future is very bright as a leader of this country. We shall surely tell his story to the people, to the young ones, so that they know what kind of a leader that Makebi Zulu is. He's a leader who is very humble. He's a leader who thinks of other people rather than of himself. And then coming to the alliance, I just want to urge our president, President Mundubile, to say an alliance is an alliance. Let's work together to liberate this country from the hands of Hakainde Hichilema. Our goal is to liberate the Zambian people. Abantu barechula. It's not a joking matter. People are suffering. When you ask this country, when you ask the leadership of this country, they will tell you to say we are lazy. They will tell us to say we were cadres who are getting money from marketeers. Some of us, we've never been in markets. We've never collected money from markets. But that is the answer that they will give you. So, no, echo to the fire ilia freedom bakwete abantu. Kulyokubomba bakwete abantu. Wabomba wakwata ka profit wemu inewa yalisha abana kumanda. That's what we want. Let's work together in unity. Let's liberate this country. Let's restore the dignity of the Zambian people. Abantu n'abasebana. Abantu n'abakwata enkongole. Because of this leadership, this failed leadership of Hakainde Hichilema. Hakainde has failed in all sectors. Whatever they are saying that no, he's scoring Katuishoko arrest score. If a former Zambian zita to the Fimuna. Abantu n'abachula. If you are scoring ukokunze achalo kumana mipi okomleto ala malaiti, then it doesn't benefit any Zambian. Mama Zambians isentuikatane. Isentuikatane pamo, isteta kosa to liberate ourselves. Twali ikano kwa vula malaiti for 4 years. Kaya malaiti tule kwate. Fumine kuisa. Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. I am right to mwene for 6 months. Tekwala tukesa ya monana kambi hawe. Once we make a mistake that was made in 2021, we are doomed.
Thank you, Mama T. Thank you, Mama T. There are so many calls, Mama T.
Thank you so much, Ramon.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good. I'm calling from the Copper Belt, Ambassador.
Yes, make your contribution.
Yes, Ambassador, when it comes to trading, business in trading, we have seen that the cross-border traders have been locked off their business. How can you give trading business to people from other countries selling second-hand shoes, retailing? So all retail traders, those that used to go outside Zambia to import goods, they've been swallowed by these people from other countries. We can't name them. Where are we going? It's just that the presidents have gone. We have seen that all the cross-border traders don't have what to do. They've become destitute. So we should ensure that the incoming government bring in manufacturers. The production sector in Zambia, instead of foreign people to come and invest in manufacturing, they've invested in trading and they've taken away jobs for us local people. Like that.
Thank you, my brother. I think we get you. About local jobs that should be retained for local people.
Especially in the trading sector, Ambassador.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
And not only that, even bank loans, the interest rates for local business people are high. What is President Mundubile and President Makebi will do to reduce the interest rate so that we Zambians borrow from our own banks? We can't benefit loans. We are able to borrow Kalova. Why?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's very clear. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba.
Good evening.
Nanma.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
Mr. Mwamba, President Nitobaya, Uzesko, Amalight, 10 kwacha 3 unit. Mwamba, 50 kwacha Amalight. Nashinga ni 25 Mwamba na chishoka. Nomba, amekala mu medium ireba kwefe. Watu mwaba kwa high cost, bale bashani ba Mwamba. Kwe, shuwa. Ba President apo bakalolekeshe po kuzesko pantu zesko eibomba kuma saluni kuma baba shop kuturi tonse tuma ice tumulepanga tuma ice cream machine na mwana na fingire business iliko ba Mwamba nomba umusango wakuti kiri zesko fo ya nina zesko na nina ba Mwamba tetute elo ba Mwamba na isa kuri ba Makebi deep breast ukuichefya mwandini kusuma imumu alibafi humble from the word they go. I love the heart for Makebi Zulu. Katunga kwata abantu benga banangu 20 aba banga Makebi mchalo mutima. Tichawa masana mwelesa. Be blessed, you are Joshua, Moses and Joshua. Mundubile esa mpera yo na mano mukwete. Mutuwadiri okubomba mutuwadiri okuikatana fefe namula ikatana pamaboko babiri efe muleenda ine mwimisha olutampulo muri fefe bamundubira mukite mufunde ifo ba Mwamba bafunde nomba fwe mafolowa yaba mundubire naba Makebi aba bamwaba ku diaspora pira baba bena please ifo tumine pa ku kintu kimota tumine pa kulalanda kuwalanda Tatwemini nepa kulandalanda. Ukulandalanda na tukuleka turesove ekintu kimu. Ukulandalanda takwa tusove waimo walati fe wampo kulapanga ekyongo juko kutaliwo ni shulife bwino. Wow, tefo tuchitafira campaign. Ifo tuchitamuteeka tima, ifibeka tene ifo twalefu okupusana. Echa achitika. Echo tupokele na kutilesa na tutotela. Ukutilesa twamutotela twakula twadiri okufukamina imumwelesa until election ikapite kuri umutima bakwete ero naisa kuri violence iri muchalo ba Mwamba angels yeka sta prophesy yeka feta pati na humburi kwa kuti bapuma noko bali ku stronghold yabo balwa nomba baluleta na mutauni baluleta kushitashi bapangwa shani mwelesa kwa Abraham ababantu awe lesangale sokolola poti mwala leta nangufe yuli mwina Kristu wabo mwina Kristu sana ole chitefya kuchitefya kumfisolo lesalesa mukuleta fechaba fena pabwelu nilesa fida tuletotela leso kutila lesa na tuluila fyaba sokolokela beka inendero mbako kuli mweba nandi bosalo ntukwata omutima bonse fwe batumapa fwe baikatano fwe tuwaikatane fine tushikwa yano kupusana tuwambe fwe kulanda ekintu kimo alondu twalire okulanda ekintu kimu alondu twalire n'okufukama ama kufika yafirwapo ama kufika yafirwapo professional yakwa Yesu Kristo ila tobaona na shumsefya kakana. Thank you Mwamba.
Thank you very much. I've got so many callers waiting. Let's get this call. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Emmanuel Mwamba nema machikamoneka mwapolentana.
Nditamayo mama chikamoneka kulishani kukitwe.
Ukitwe kulishela mpinali akamwe.
Mkwa inale mwana muleshana mailo na nena leshana na imwe.
Na lishana stamp. Ewa shilashana. Wena
Landen
Emmanuel Mwamba inyokuba ngechimbuse chikalamba pa Zambia. Ningufwa insanse chikalamba sana. Pantwa government yaba imitofole United Party for National Development. Isiresiyo kuya bebe abantu bale chula abantu bale ikulika day and night umulandu wakaloba ama lending institutions all corners of Zambia ero ama teachers bale ikulika ama nurses bale ikulika pamulandu ngakongo lenda lama ba Mwamba ayo yende ama rate bale landa kuma bank nitula twabani abantu bafola ama 00 kwa pay slips. I government ifile fio kuya. okwabula n'okuseka tuli bonse mwirampi mukati muno natotera.
Thank you, Mayo. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mama Chikamoneka there. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Precious Inongyomgaita from Livingston.
My dear sister, make your contributions.
I'm happy to hear from both of them, and I've heard them very well, and also Brand Mundubile. So me, what I want to encourage them right now, like the way they've explained, and we have seen the support from the people. So Honorable President Brand Mundubile, me, what I want to say is, as we have seen all of us that both of you are being supported by the people of Zambia, and we don't want tomorrow to see that this government again they are in power, because if we just see them that they are in power, then you know that Honorable Brand Mundubile, he was not there for us, because right now we have seen Benaridi Mutamzi, the way they were disrespecting Makebi Zulu. So some of us, we didn't even believe that you are working together with Makebi Zulu. That's why us who supported Makebi Zulu, we were against your unity. But after listening to what you were saying there, even myself, I'm going to support you, and I will support you 100%. But I don't want my vote to see that after I vote for you, I see again my UPND in power. Just know that ECL's wishes is going to do with you too. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. There are so many calls. Let's be brief to allow as many people to say what they wish to say. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Mwabombeni mkwai.
Enstamayo Mwabombeni.
Wabomba fe bwino tukashashira mprofe na chilala ndalidia.
Mkwai.
Fine bana mayo balantiro kweba ati. Echo tulero mbako fe kuma leaders besu babonse babiri. Ba Makebi na ba Brand Mundubile. Chakweba ati fine mulandira apa. Vile mapashi pa mtima pamenu tatulefoya pantashi ukupusana pantu ababa UPND basenda fya mapepa ya ba PF lero mitima yesu fwe bantu tabasenda ifo twala misapota nokuvota twala vota nokuwina mwala wina tulolero kwa batukwa pokena ba Emmanuel mwamba pa airport day akwisa batende tulero mbanchi musha kwe bati ififine mulela ya bantu ama promise mulepera apa eyo mukabombelepo echo tatulefoya bufi filafina banenu balebepo mufuko bati awankaleta obunga pa 50 kwacha bafiro okuleta obunga pa 50 kwacha. So please to apapa tama promise mletu pera ene eyo mukatubombele ifina bafuma pali ba Brand Mundubile tofo okubalomba insele abale support ba Brand Mundubile baleke kulatukana insele ba Makebi Zulu. Please to apapata pantu apa na mwikatana muli omuntu umo tobombele ni chalo cha Zambia ukola chikatane tubombele chapa mutube omuntu umo bamwamba mubombe bwino mulale bwino ni voice ya naikoma.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador Mwawomba Shani.
Mkwai Mwabombeni.
Mama K calling within Lusaka.
Mama K, make your contribution.
Yes, Ambassador Npo ndise wokondwela ndine wokondwela pakona ba BM8 na MZ8 vamene vakamba apa. Chamene tipempako vamene vakamba ba BM8 na ba MZ8 ndiye pamene vikachitike zoona. Nosi mwamene tivutikira ba ambassador tapita mumavuto yosiyana kuchoka mu 2021 kufika pali zino nthawi. Tenzo kungoti mulungu tizachita bwanji kuti vintu vinkhaleso koma mulungu atiyankha ndi tizaenda 03 palaini andina kupita vazapita vazoona olotsinkhale bwanji vazapita Makebi Zulu ba BM8 ngati vamvera va president vathu mukachite vintu vokupya noti vamene vanachita vivisi vakuti kupromisa vantu vintu vaboza fertilizer 250 apa pakati apa venzi vanakambako va vice president vao muparliament atiyayi na mashini yanabwera yopangira ziki nazizira nkhani simverapo namanje mwamene muja muparliament bagi yabwerera ya fertilizer na manje simverapo koma chonde mukachita vintu vokupya vere mwakamba apa andi mukachita ivo musakondweresa muntu aliyense azakakondwera ndipo kusenza kwanu mulungu azakudalisa ndipo namanje apa akudalisani kudala izapitirirapomo paliponse pamene munkhala paliponse pamene muyenda mulungu azikuchingirizani mukakwera motoka mukalibokwelamo driver mkulu ni mulungu paliponse pamene muyenda vanjelo vazinkhala kusogolo vazivala pali imwe va MZ8 na va BM8 ndipo tonse tinkhalichabe wogwirizana tikagwirizana vonse vintu vizaenda bwino satana sazapeza chance yakuti angenepo ndiye pamene nikambako va ambassadors koma.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Yes.
I'm here. Thank you. A quick contribution. By the way, I'm very excited to see these great leaders, the sons of the soil, articulate issues and explain, the things that we Zambian people have really been yearning for. This is the leadership that we are dreaming for, and this is the leadership that God has responded to us to. My call basically is on all those that are still outside. I mean, things show where people's hearts are. Let them quickly join this team. The opposition, those that still, are still outside, join this team so that together we can progress. In conclusion, Ambassador Mwamba, I have a proposal. The president did touch the issue of expanding free education. I'm proposing that let this free education be also expanded, especially when it comes to tertiary, and just have a threshold. For example, those that score 8 points, let them go directly to these institutions. There should be a policy that is going to guide and provide that free education to those, brains that we have. Let us harness them. There is no country that can develop without an educated community. So there are those that score very high. Let it be automatic for those. Government provide everything away from the usual bursary that is full of corruption and other things. But let it be an automatic pathway. If you get 8 to 6 points straight to the university or even private institutions, let there be a policy that is going to guide this, and together I believe we can make progress. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got a caller waiting here. Just hold on. Just a minute. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution. Hello, Mwabombeni.
Mkwai. Hello.
Mkwai.
Ambassador Mwamba kwena chakubagira kubye utotera bafyo twakwata mlengu fa
Mkwai, you are very clear.
Okay, bafyo twakwata bakateka Weswa Brani Mundubile na Vice President ba Makebi Zulu. But fecho ningalomba kokuntungurushishesu ni kubantu abalekonka ba Makebi then abalekonka ba Mundubile. Tumone ko ati twabombera pamo twaikatana pakwati fintu fya twendera bwino. Then chimbi kutotafena kuli Mwamba because you were very instrumental mukumono ko ati twambo kukwata ko opposition batampo kuisa pamo. Uyuine emutimoto file twaya na wenda. Then concern feimbe onkwete na chirafu okuchako nangu kuishba efo chingaba ne concern ile ya kulipo ama political party otukwete ili ngalizo youth party PR then twakwata na NRP ya ba Mundubile nomba concern onkwete yakwe bati ngachako bati iyi party let's ngani ko kopa belt tuberere twalanda tama MPs babe mine mukopa belt bali pachola then twalanda twa president bali pa pay right ndei pusho ko bati busheta chambe kukwata complication because ngatuamba kuingira mu campaign kulondera abantu chirebe chashupa sana like lero twashingira ko mu campaign because campaign time table na ifuma mukulondera abantu mwabe bati ba MP bali pachola then ba president bali pay right fine bakwati file shupa ko nishite tichibere fyo ko bati rafine tukwete ati ama MPs bonse na councillors ba imini na fe pa pay right then nga twalipitirira esabbala efitwala apita bambi abo bali abaleshara kuti baisakwatako ebifulo vya butisi bambi babako amaambassadors nevyashara because as we speak ambassador kampeni yala amoneka kukwati yala atushupa natukwata mp ali pachola then twakwata president bali palya pay right nga tuingira mu kampeni abakalamba tabakala understand nangu takulya mukuvota vikashupa because abantu bakulambona kwati imbiri right veponze matanga tempi nomuvotera so ekonseni yandi omwe bafyashi kuti mwaidolekeshapo because abakalamba bena bakalashupikwa nabantu tebaleiputa nomba kuli right nechola tukalavota shani.
Yeah, I think the president's answered that their secretariat are harmonizing and they'll be issuing both the announcement and also the guidelines to what happens in that case. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador Nawera Dande Konomba.
Mkwai.
Ambassador Nderumba Kofene Kuikatana. Why Ndero Kuikatana ambassador? Like Java Kola of Mapapa. Tungu Shadi Kala, Chatera Nama instructions, Kwevati. Ama Kansera Kushana Paliva by MP. Mukopa Beo Chaka. What a won't chola. Nomba vena koku structure vai chinjavi ne vavika pay right. If you have shiri kwa kwetu ambo kuverero kumfwe ntungurushi bafetureranda bashiranda tuivanga ngaba UPND awaba kwata ma spokesperson yavengi katwato muchinchi kuntungurushi intungurushi ngasharanda ni shinashishwe ko shireranda po ifo tfuretu wa pantunga fyaba yuri from councillor okuisa afika pati MP Oro president ewa ibera profete eti bafirwa bakarambo kotao okuchira mwabama opponents babiri oku balerushe chikolo chimochire mweba nganda imoso ine ndero mbako ama meya raba meya kukitwe baraba kweba balisa ta pa ama nominations para before intongolo chitashiraisa na kuri bena babonfe fe initiative first step down ukuchira abale shuke ndungurushi pantu ama instructions bali beba twakitefe umuchinshi ukuchita step down nishba fo bena Zambia nombanga ba twambo kuruwa chitora ona ora ma votes so ndesi tapo fe encourage batonse ba ambassador abonfo ekuje ndungurushi shireranda tapaka bechi kashupa why na apel.
Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador muri bwanje.
Nili bueno.
Wa Oscar.
Yes, Oscar.
Yeah. This is the goodness of having a country which is democratic. It gives rights to people to speak out. Okay? And what our brothers and the Mundubile and Makebi is just from doing, it is just confirming that people are voicing out. So what we are surprised is that there's some people who are calling our president a dictator. I'm talking about the president of all Zambians today. Dictatorship. Do they even understand the way the dictator? Someone who's a dictator. A command. So for me, my brother, the two comrades that are you are just from interviewing, they are just pushing the doors that are already open. If this is the message that they will take to the people, or the message that they will preach to the people, converting for votes, using the message they are going to lose terribly. Because Zambians are very much aware the foundation which has been laid by this government and the president. Yes,
thank you, my brother. Thank you. Oscar he supports President Hakainde Hichilema, and we let him speak. He says his views. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador Mwamba, good evening. You're talking to Mambochola.
Mambochola, make your contribution.
Mr. President, good evening. My short contribution is
Mr. President, we are very happy as your supporters that you two, you found it okay to come together and work as brothers. This is not about one individual. This is about the nation. Your unity means a lot to us because the time you were in different angles, abantu baleyipusha nomushana. Tuli batatu bambi bali support aba bambi bali support aba. So with now this coming of you together as one, we are assured and we are assuring you that we are headed for victory come 2026. Because as Zambians, as youths, myself I'm a youth, we have suffered at the hands of this government. We have seen the load shedding, what it has landed us into. We have seen whatever they were promising us as youths, what they have failed, and we have seen that there is nothing that they are going to do, even if we can give them another 5 years. That is why it was the national call that you two people can work together. And I'm urging my fellow youths across the nation, let us rally behind the candidature of President Mundubile and his Vice President, Honorable Makebi Zulu. This is Mumbomoza Shola. Thank you very much, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador, thank you for the opportunity. This is the Zambian diasporan.
My dear brother, make your contribution.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Listening to the two honorables, they give a breath of fresh air, like every election in Zambia. My advice to them is to focus more on what they would do for Zambians and how they would do it. If they talk about reforming the civil service, what are they going to do about those appointments made by them, right, in the civil service in order to actualize the reforms? They will be responsible for appointing law enforcement agencies. What are they going to do to ensure that the DEC is objective, the ACC, the police are objective? I want them to focus more on their message than on the failures of the UPND. We know that the UPND has failed. The Zambian people know that the UPND has failed. But what is it that they are going to do different to uplift the lives of our people? We are endowed with natural resources. Work for us as a people to ensure that Zambia keeps growing and is on a trajectory to promote entrepreneurship in our country, to promote leadership, to promote growth. What are they going to do about uniting the Zambians who have been polarized for the last 5 years because of regional appointments? We also need a foreign service that is professional. They must be brave enough to ensure that whoever is appointed has the right qualifications, has the right integrity and the right knowledge to ensure that Zambia is sold and Zambia is played on the map in the world, that this is a country that can actually actualize its growth ideas and growth agenda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Resolved, and BM8, MZ8 will be in State House. Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. We
know Nibana Angela. I'm back in Lusaka now. I'm calling from Loma Wadi, Ngwerere Wadi 22.
Wonderful, my dear sister. Make your contribution.
Yes, na mverabu ino pamene mwatita nina ba president wa Mundubile na ba Makebi yaikonka bonse pamene bakamba aba bantu ndi bazabwa kutipulumula ma problems amene tapitamo ya muri 5 years uluno lubuto zona lakwati tichoke mumfimfi tibwere mundo ero chinangu ba mwamba mwaitabu ino kuti tingale clarified pamene papane mwene according ma candidate bayimirira babiri at least basebenzerepo tuone bati pasana makandidates bali popular pa ground than vinachitika last time. So ine namvera bwino kuli ba running mate batu ba Makebi Zulu na ba president ba Mundubile ife tili kumbuyo kwanu ground ye kupya kudala osa bwerera mumbuyo apa vote ye beoneke latu 100% mu forming a government so that mbwe mtisunge bwino aya mavuto anatapita mu muri aba bantu stifuna kubwera mu mavuto muri 4 years 5 years vanatapitamu. So ba president ba Mundubile ba vice president ba Makebi Zulu pitirizani so chabe na poshako na bamayi ba mumbipiri uko pitirizani kuti pushingira vintu kusogolo ndio kambako kwanga zikomo.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Mamba.
Good evening.
Yes, Mr. Mamba. This is from Zambia.
Francis, make your contribution. Mulimayango drivers, Mkwai.
Bamwambala natuchula mule mfuako fe kuli bayango. Prechula paso apa kufika panganda pa. Tatuishi vena ofutwala kashinga ino wiki ino liminenyo toka bara tupoka fuye bambi. Natuchula government ifo mfwa. Tualira tuana ba CPC. Bali basanga no mlandu ba alikano kukonga bayango. Ishi ve bayango fu bakano kukonga mlandu ba basanga na wena. It's like kwa oko bashinjira bayango wabapera mako wa kustofu balefwa. So trombako ba president ngabayisa ba brand. Papa tangabale umfofo ndelanda. Batupere ko loti mapu ifo mayango drive ofo bakachito ofo bakatwafwa. So that at least na kutreshita benefit mu chitoto lebomba. And then chiminatu bomfana bambya pa bale isaba tabaleta tabomfire fya chilarondo ba president ba brand Mundubile na Makebi Zulu ba vice president. Kataba bena ngate message bale fo kumfweyo. Nishikatu isi message jo ba fwa kumfwa. I think bali belero kumfwa ufi. Bali belero kumfwa ufi. Fwela ni message bale landa ba brand Mundubile na ba Makebi na yumfika. Bale votre rombako yo. Enya yango driver na papa mtuwevele ko ba president ba fire ku platform bakatiste kwa place especially for taxi driver ba mwamba ala tuchula na tuchula mune mfafita kuli flex tikakuyango tulewombera vyo buchushi so to papa mtulombele ko kuli ba president batupele ko roti mapofu bakatwafa so that bayango futa to abapata but ama conditions vale tamwandi na tuchula so trero mbako wa president batupele ko road map batwebe ofu bakatwafa ko fema yango driver so that tukwate ko hope because apa abantu hope abantu bomse ali pwamu tabeshibe nomba tukashitashani because twalirira government taifo kutwafa nomba tukashitashani so naromba tika kuli mwamba please.
Thank you. It appears, thank you very much, my brother. There is an issue with truck drivers and an issue with Yango drivers. Here, I know the leaders are listening, and there are various sectoral leaders are listening. They should provide an answer to that issue. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Mkwai.
I just wanted to also disagree with the previous gentleman. Abantu amonga aisala ndefia bulokulondoro kamule bakuturaki. Ifo twalimine ubufyo batu bepere twalimine 04. Na bapenti no kwimechititangu. Tebu fibwa lengero butatu. Imichite ya makada bali mu PF. That's why that day ya last election we wake up to 04 kwa kutakasti kufumia poetika lungu. They may so rest in peace. Little did he know that Alerusa am election. He didn't even send the soldiers to man the polling stations. So we disagree with that gentleman.
Turabaleka balanda goodness ya ino platform. Tumukati Oscar a supporter wa president aka indeje na makumuleka na yena toa mfwa kwefi alelanda.
ifo twali beperwa obufi nakira mnyo pali ashija abantu bale bashaku yafu omuntu ba transport abamu omuntu afu akukongwa yasenda kufye motoka yakwe just because achindika motoka ama family yale shara ale chula. Those are the policies our president was talking about. When you come, I'm going to change. When you vote for me, I'm going to change this narrative. That's what he was telling us. But what's happened? Former transport minister is there doing nothing. So,
thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, this is Miller, but I would love to go anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
My contribution is simple like this. Ambassador, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Please switch off your other device.
I'll switch off there.
Yes, make your contribution.
So my contribution is this. To President Makebi and as well as President Mundubile, one of our two leaders in the country that we simply admire today. My request is this, please, we've got issues around here, not only on the copper belt or any other plates. We have a challenge whereby we've got more than 3 or 2 people contesting in one position. Look, like in Kitwe, or you're able to see a councillor contest in this position representing a Resolute Party and as well as National Reconciliation Party. So please, I'm requesting from these leaders, would you find a situation where you are able to come up with one candidate so that we can be able to consolidate, because as and when Parliament starts, you need to have majority and arrangement. So it is not too late. You can tell these candidates want to withdraw so that you can be able to support another. It is not too late. So that was my contribution. I'm just requesting from them so that things can be able to move in a better way. We are not too late.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be taking the last calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution. Yes.
I'm calling from Chingola.
Chingola, please make your contribution.
Anonymous.
Yes.
Ambassador, sometimes I wonder the people support UPND if they are really under witchcraft, like Honorable Joseph Panda said. How can somebody just come and say like Akahinde is not a man full of the kind of administration? That man is a very bad leader. He's the most failed leader ever seen in the history of this country. He has failed to lead this country. He has failed to talk about. He lies. Even on the move, Kurawesha. Uromunta Quataneson Shabu Fingare, Pobufia Bantu. What in Bale Palite? He's a man you can even talk about, to vote about. Any normal human being on earth, even if it's his own wife cannot vote for him, that man has failed to lead this country since we got independence. Have you ever seen Zambians, potential Zambians, officials, men of caliber, living outside the country like it's happening now? All of you supposed to contribute in the country governance. You are living outside the country, even if you are under opposition. We need you, and we need you to provide advice, to provide leadership, to provide help for him to run this country effectively. He just go and pick cadres who are now going to beat their own people on public like the way they are beating Gary Ngombe. Look at the fracasses in Chavum. Look at the fracasses in Ilunga. Look at in the Kalumbila. Go to Kitwe, go to Kalunuchi. Go to everywhere there is confusion. These are the government who can bring back again in power. No. We are so happy that Honorable Makebi Zulu and Honorable Blan Mundubile have come together. The wind is straightforward. We are voting for these two people. Come 2026, 13 August, the government must change. We need freedom of doing business, freedom of speech, freedom of doing everything. Not how we are living now. We're living like you are a criminal in your own country. Our brothers are being killed in the Congo there. The president is quiet. He's saying nothing. People are being killed every day with Yango taxes. Nothing is quiet. Then you are saying like you are going to vote for Akaindes. When I hear people talking about Akaindes money, I feel like I can beat someone. Thank you, sir.
Yo, mwikomo muntu mkaye vote if you don't beat someone. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, Bamwamba. Below nameless. I was not supposed to come back.
Nameless,
I've
make a
come back
contribution.
because I've been so much pushed by the gentleman who came to talk about, sort of like defending themselves. Yeah. Anyway, tule bakofena sensitive. Bamwamba, I want to educate this mister. I hope he's hearing, is there, is listening. The mister, just go and Google and find out who is a dictator. I'm going to read out for you. A dictator is a ruler or political leader who holds absolute power over a country, typically unconstrained by laws, constitutions, or elections. They usually maintain control through the use of force, intimidation, and suppression of civil liberties. Now, what are the key characteristics? Absolute authority, total control over the government, military, and legal system, suppression of oppositions, elimination or heavy restriction of rival political parties, free speech, and protests. Have you heard? Thank you, Bamwamba.
Thank you, Mamsambirishako. Mamsambirishako, thank you.
Some of us, we suffer twice because of our problems. People can't just come out and start talking about things which they don't even know. We know what we are talking about. Go back to school. You've got a free education.
Thank you. You're Aumfwa. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Chungula po mkwaiva tatawa mwamba.
Mkwai.
Ichakubalila po ndeto tela fiba tatawa mu. Chila benga bombela pamubalu bule fwe bantu twachula muno Musambia. Edio kuli bakola balyandelo mbako fyo kubana bakola abo bachituma bayango. Imwe pali ino nshita bombe sheni. Ukutila muchite campaign. Imo mubelela ma truck drivers ibobe no bonse bayango ama drivers mwe bana besu na tushwa kuchula femule chula na tushwa femule pitamo fyonse nomba echo nde milomba ko chako ati ni mwevo nomba campaign ukuiba abaneno abashishi beapa kuvota ikataini ama voters cards inene ule mweva nine senior citizen. I've gone out of my way. This government has to go. Mwikala femuleli lana yo nishta kuchita act na totela ba mwamba ninena mwamba.
Thank you, Mayo. Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Mr. Mwamba.
Good evening.
Mine is just a question. And the Honorable President Veswabo, but how many seats have they managed to fill in my constituencies for MPs and also my council chairman and my mayors? Because what we're reading on the media is very worrisome.
Yo, what is the issue statement? Hello, my dear sister. There is a statement that was issued from the Secretariat, I think by Mr. Zumanzimba. He has said the allegation that they missed 75 seats, you must have seen that. There's a clarification of the number of seats they filed in. they filed in almost all the seats, almost, not all, but almost all. So look for that clarification. I also look for it. Maybe I can read it before we close. But there was a clarification, a statement that came from Zumanzimba.
Okay, please find it because it's very, very worrisome. Very, very worrisome. And the number was so alarming.
Yes. No, I think that was a clarification. Thank you. Thank you, my sister.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Good evening.
Good evening, Ambassador Mom.
Good evening.
My name is Anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, calling you from Dola. I want just to contribute on two things. On the adoptions of members of parliament, which I know they have already responded, but I want to talk of one seat in Nyimba North. You find that Nyimba North, the candidate who was adopted by the Nrpup, was engineered by the chief, who is a support of UPND. So the idea we did the Mingalato so that the UPND, they can have a weaker candidate on the opposition of our Tonse Arans Pamos. So leaving the person who is popular, who is Ruben Chombozulu. So later on, I know Chombozulu has filed now under RP. But I don't know when they are doing that, if they will remove Ruben. Mark my words, and when it comes August 13, we are going to lose. The person who is popular, let them send people. I called even the young brother to Mundubile in Mpolokoso. I talked to him over the same. I know I've got his number, but that's a number which I think the police got. It's not going through. The number which is using, I don't know. He knows me and I know him personally. I wanted to mention about this. So what happened is, I called someone in Chipata to go and find out on the ground, and they found out
we have volume, we lost volume temporarily. I'm taking the last 5 phone calls and then we close. Thank you, thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, I can mention my name.
Yes, Anonymous, make your contribution.
Yeah. Funo kamba kwa chape. Linkara kuchawama. Nfani pembeko bantu bevamvela. Papeji yanu hapo, please. Tikwitizane chape kuti aba bantu tibachosepo. Kosi palibe vevachita. Mulibe otiwe kambatetini. Vachitaichi. Kulibe vevachita. Boti mirandu zapakisa. Imumuvandalama mwese kutawa chero chino. Watu mwezi wampawe yoti na manyumba tengwa kulipia na unga tengwa kugula manyumba. Zakatibira kuti. Zatibira kapena ni kwa misisi zatikwi. Zatibira kapena mepusi ya fonga. Zatikwi.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. I'm taking the last 5 calls.
No, thank you. My name is Chala Ponde. I'm calling you from Dallas, Texas. Sorry I came in the conversation. I just wanted to ask a question to our president and the vice president. How well are they going to protect the votes if we are fighting these people who are so cruel and with a lot of cadres who are injuring people? Do we have people who are going to protect the votes? That's my question. Because if they can do that to Mr. Gary Nkombo, I don't know what will happen to the opposition in all polling stations, in the rural areas and in everywhere in town, everywhere.
Thank you.
That's my question, sir.
Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller, make your contribution. Yes.
My question goes, I think it's the same question with the lady who's just coming from. Hi, Katumbi here again.
Yes, Katumbi, we can hear you. Just switch off the other device because you'll be hearing feedback.
Like the lady who's just from asking, how are we going to protect our votes? Number one. Then number two, I know Hakainde Hichilema is listening to this. Yes, I know Hakainde Hichilema is listening to this. Yeah, Hakainde Hichilema is listening to this. I'm just gonna tell him one thing. Your time is up. Your tricks, we've known them, and you're not going anywhere. If I was you, the best time for you is just to say, Zambians have failed, and I hand over power to the right people. Because look at what you have done to the people in Zambia. There's nothing which you have done, and the only thing you are hoping that your Mingalato will continue until thy kingdom come. It won't. Your time is up. Hakainde Hichilema, step down. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, Mama.
Tuawomba, London Poyaman, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Southern Province.
Mwape, make your contributions.
My contribution is going toward these two parties that we are going to use, more especially Kuma MPC, RP, and the other one, Equatelite. Since it's the first time to use this strategy in Zambia, we have never used the Akobati President Amina Peraiti, and then MPs like Kopa Belt and Rusaka, Pagachola. I'm sure this one is going to confuse the voters. My humble request, I think you can deal with this issue private with the two presidents, so that at least like the way it is kuno kwafuma yakova president alipa party with MP like that suit then yakova turwa votera MP pakachola president Belite. It's going to confuse us because this is the first time we have never done this before in Zambia. That is my contribution, sir.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
This is unanimous in Kaputa.
Yes. Bakaputa landenipo.
Bakaputa the first night the mwana tsala na besu. That's pity. I'm quiet. Now, not push a bonse mwe kala kumula basoyo. Ineko inele weekend for kulanda punichi. Like ababa ndumire suba from kulanda kwe ba kainde finef na ino ine for natural for kulanda. Kwe ba president akainde. Alam history ya Zambia political. Tamwaga okutinga kwaba opposite a change of time made by MMD na ba UPND mwali wasana. So imo ba UPND mwala sangwe ni kuibiri. Please try and change the trend. Ilikuwa ama first term elections yeno bakainde honestly. Abantu bafuwe chifuwe fyomsangoyu. It's on your head. Takuli history kalando apwesu mapali imwe awe. Abantu bafula shanyu kufuwa omusangoyu. Ama road accidents yalife yekoko. Ba former UPND MPs muleba puma muleba lopola. Ba president akainde. Still president. Mushefida ba umine ulio mulumendo chelo. I can't remember his first name. Chelo ulio waide kule kumonze east mukubishanya na ba shukuru bantu ababa mwimbo.
Ba Jack Mwimbo.
Ba Jack Mwimbo. President akainde. When you sit down as a husband, as a father, maybe as a grandfather, as a brother, as a son to your mother, as an uncle, ukula mono muntu ale pumwa fide ba muteta kumezo fide fuimbire kumatwi bachifuba mumbafu. What kind of weapons were your candidate your supporters using? Ba president akainde mwali sambirira mwali ku Birmingham uko kumabulaya. Honestly, the 3-5 years mwai kere mule chitama master's degrees kulia. Tamwa mwene pa my elections yaba conservative na ba labor na ngubambia yabako. Mwali mwene kubale abantu mwale chita okutakisha ati I've got a lot of foreign friends abroad. You mean from your foreign friends abroad? Tamwasa mbirira ko civilization yakuchita hand over power mumutende mumuchinshi. Abantu bafwa ma voters abo, some of them eba mi votere pa UPND. That's 2.8 million. Ngekwa yuko pituluka mu mwalasa ngati abafuire bambi bantu bale imaru chero mutu mummi kalire ishalo ndoroka hoping atrika londoroka. Awe Mr. President to alanda pa organizing our opposition, but this time around in kunoka kaputa natila miebe cover president. Awe abantu bafa whatever formula you are using at muwine na abantu kubepa efi chakana 1-2 mu UPND nichi kwabela ama adoption certificates yabiri ni atatu you mean tamwa kwa trading soria scrutiny pali balabe ni mwabika po ba secretary general na bambi ukuti bale sign na fidefi paper chakwa Simon mwe wamali sign ichakwa Kate na kazo mwali sign Kate na kazo mwagomba nankwe 5 years yapita apapene mwaisa mwikata mwamubika na muchifungo because Kate na kazwe muchibemba kanama kalino obunongo mu menso mwaiche sana wakati mumubule mwabomba nankoyu mwaka imyaka ileo mwachinja mano before na Simon mwewa for whatever reasons mwishire mweyaka kaketi na kazwe ishiri UPND nesha kabalemba UPND even when bamazoka formed UPND nishindikala musaka nshalo lesheko na definitely ni freedom ni democracy but bali ama citizens mulele ngaba chena banawo it's a cry of my heart bantu bali nabo keki na kazwe ali upwalimbi na kwatabana fiana na bashifiana like nachila chita point on your family. That's a beloved of her family, of his family yomwe mchelo na imwe you are beloved. Nomba imwe na mwikala kumkomoni kuchinju ko mwikala ku community house fionse filifye bwino na bamutinta na bana munatu mutinta na tumbi ko twana twenu abana babene bamwana chelo balelira wish na babachena and you call yourself a president let no kimle for another term. I'm just an ordinary citizen kuno kwa kaputa I'm concerned ndefa yumutende citizen ose abakulu bonse pala bapelele ba mwimbu basekela mugwe bati chero kuti abo mwana waona ngumwe shikulu wabo abatikano bamulopole bamuchenefera fini keti nakazwe ni junior wakwa Gary Nkombo mwaba lopola bonse Gary Nkombo mwatuma bakumupuma. Are you not ashamed of all these things? Ba president Hakainde nichi chine chaba kumutima wenu ndefo okulira nichi chaba kumutima wenu cyambiko sho mutima ifumule muna fya abantu bale chena naka imwe mulefu atati mukabenda next time awu yama weleni monshiretila yama filwa mitati bari indwe boko twafuma mwaome umoni yama ubilitata umbilishikuru so mwana mpima pali kuyama. You can be my mother's young brother. Awe yama Bakainde chinje nikiya mulimu ya kutila tena abantu bafwe balefwafye mumbude fwafya wo mulefwaye utwakana tulefwa ichalo chesta kuli kwa kuyaza ama refugees bene mwamba na bene bambi abachita test mu refugee lili epo chipelele. The next government tulefwa ama citizens basambo kula butukira mu kuchalo kumbi. We are the Zambia that has kept a lot of refugees apepenetu abamapti panepenetu abamapti as if landlocked tushinguluka bonse. They have lived in Zambia. Nama Tanzanians, nama Congolese, I didn't know we had Kenyan refugees until recently. We had Ugandan refugees. Amini, so is that the reputation for Kukula? Awe ama chinjeni amano not at banko bari amuchinshi wachive mboko na fyarwa from yeni prefele kenu kwipa ya abantu please mibe katika kwipa ya abantu elo mukateke ubufi mulapo wa muntu ulalanda. The blood speaks. Ababonse mule ipaya their blood will cry on the heads of your children and children's children.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have had a wonderful program. We were hosting Honorable Brian Mundubile, who's leading the alliance of Tonse and Pamozi Alliance, and his running mate, Honorable Makebi Zulu. Thank you for joining us. Look for more programs in the week. We've lined up a lot of programs in the week, a lot of leaders that will come to your program. You are lucky I've answered you. You are my last caller. Make your contribution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwamba. I've been trying, I think, almost 2 hours.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I'm glad you've gone through. Make your contribution.
Yes. Mwamba, thank you so much. My first contribution is I just wanted to appeal to our president and the vice president. We are looking at Misepela. Muchalo chezo na mumone findi fire chitike misepera na waya kusukuru na basambirira but takulifya kuchita elo twalisha tubuteko tetuwindishe bonse mchito kuti bavombe but abantu bali kwetya ama threat kuti bayimini napaveka bayirodesha ba nabena bayibombera pafale yimini napaveka. Isho tulera ndaba machakwe bati ubuteko bwesu nabwali bwakwimina okwafa abantu bangisa tupira ku amatrade muchalo cheso makamaka kumisepera alati mwamwe nabayimini nabe nebeka ebonse bakalalire nchito kwingira mu government ifefe tulefo kumona okwe bati iyo basa ingira mu buteko pa 20 August 13 baroresha aposana pali ichi because ekintu kire kisakamika ayama junks mlemo na bana abalefu mamayanda okwati bambe bali kwa namasukuru bali pepa amafwaka bali chitashani so tulero mbokwe bati na president principal ayo mfano vice president ofire barusha pokufia bale petule mona abanenso bali chitabwino abakuti baya lomba kuleta abantu aba basatupera ma trades kubana beso basayimi napa paveka entrepreneur bale imombera bene kuchawa ichaku cha namba 2 bamwamba chakwe bati leo mfensoni fitwe bali kyalo fimbi etule mono kweba munyina na munyina ai maubule panga omumunangwe bakacheka naye kalanga tondoro alero lechakofi kile umfishenson na pama social media na watu kushokoa tu wafuma kuchalo kile umfishenson no plan no kwa tunde fuma kuchalo cha mzango fantu ile mtafiri moneka bwe so tulelomba ukweba tibakateka na chilango kweba tina musirwa shikulu abanenu abakwata amano bafola omutende okumuno kwe bati basho omutende balanda kati mwe bantu bakwalesa alana afirwa ekine bakwite kuona bena amaka ya kusateeka yesu bateke efyo banabo bakita simiro pature today muna kubantu abakalamu babali mu UPND kibaye miniro kuya kito mukakabula abaye kyo musango fyokulatuma abantu la bakita adapt mu musango mfiria ushina twali bapere imbi 5 years ala tabakatupwe wonso kutwipaya so tulero mbokwe bati na muno kwe bati mwafirwa ala lekireni ko bandi ishimiro pamuleponya chikesa chitafekisi abenshikuru n'abenshikuru benu n'olupwa lwenu lwonse bambi bakashama tabakalesanga n'enkitu mu buteku bantu bakala munasi yeshina okwe bati yeye mwesha mwayibukisha abantu aba ifi fyonse mwirasi mwena pali inoshita ati mumwene ku future oko tuleyo kandi mweshiteyo tamwakabeko abenshikuru n'abenshikuru bakachula bantu bakeshiri ifu mwachitire nefe mwashire cyalo Pamwamba, thank you so much, Fanchis Mamrevumba.
Thank you.
2026 August 13th, ala State House, na Ipalama, Yen, Natutrampwe.
Good night and God bless you until tomorrow when we have another special guest. God bless you.